Hey there, welcome to Motorcycles and Misfits, coming to you from the Recycle Garage in sunny Santa Cruz, California. Hey everyone! Wow, we are in the summer.
Crazy from the heat.
We are in the summer. When it gets hot here, we get loopy. We have no air conditioning in our home.
Fruit loopy
sealed in here.
God. But hey, it's again. I think every week that goes by, I just feel even more like charged about like getting through this tough last year and having good days and good weeks. They just keep getting better
and better
and better,
more better,
and good days in the garage,
gooder days,
and getting stuff done. I properly rebuilt a carburetor today.
Good girl.
As opposed to the last 8 times I pulled it apart and
just move stuff
around.
Yeah, I know.
But it's been good. I'll get to that. But let's first start with who is in the room. Hey everyone, this is Liza, and I am going to be playing the role of Long Duck Fong tonight. In the reading of
and you can send your complaints to
it's the Bagler. I just saw the Bagler.
That makes Liza our stand-in exotic.
Playing the part of Jake, the hot guy. It's Scott.
I think that's a little bit of a stretch, but thank you anyway. Scott from Alameda.
Yeah, you can't pull that one off, huh?
I don't know, Dad bod.
Playing the annoying little brother. It's Stumpy John.
Wow.
Oh, I have nothing to say. Yes, I'm annoying. And I'm Stumpy.
Oh, we're filling the roles.
There we go.
Now, let's see. There's a few roles to fill. Let's see. Oh, I know. Playing the drunk fiance of the older sister. It's Naked Jim.
Hey, with one broken heel. That's me. Don't let me sling this thing at you. Hey, what's up, peeps? I was in San Francisco this weekend. Quickly, it's an awesome city. If you've been looking for a reason to go to San Francisco, do it. Things are opening up, and it's a hoot. And I met a lovely scooterist, Bagel, at an Italian place. Yes. I don't know if she's listening. I'm sorry I forgot your name, but it was great. So, yeah, right on.
Excellent. Nice. Playing the role of Farmer Ted, the underwear collector. It's award-winning Mike.
I'm Molly Ringwald.
That's
It's a different Molly.
You're Molly Ringworm.
Molly Ringworm.
Yeah, don't tell me I'm not. You know what I mean? I can be who I want to be.
Mike, this is your first time in the studio in forever.
Yeah, you guys.
It's nice because we can lock eyes and I can say, "Don't look at me when I'm inside of you."
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. It's gonna smell like colon when we're done in here. I tell you what.
That'll make me want to put my mask back on here.
You should.
It started smelling like colon in here, man. Yeah. Who was that anyway? Can't blame it on the dog.
It wasn't me. Say for the record.
All right. And playing the role of the visiting grandma who's hard of hearing. It's Miss Emma.
Hey, hello. Actually playing the role of the old woman who's been eating Indian food. Thank you, everyone.
Lamb Vindapoo.
Yes, exactly. Lamb Windy Poo, which is the best food ever, and everyone should eat it every day. And gin. You know, I am on the lamb vindaloo and gin diet, and it's working out very well for me.
Both served hot.
Yes, exactly. No, I'm a Brit. We always drink our alcohol at room temperature. Because it goes down easier, you see.
And then because there's one person left who gets to pick whichever role he wants. Bagel, who do you want to be?
I would be the geek.
Oh, played by John Cusack.
Anthony Michael Hall.
Oh, that was Farmer Ted.
What about the principal? Who's the principal?
That's Liza. That's got to be Liza.
That's
Breakfast Club. Yep,
yeah,
yep.
Good. Well, you can be all the geeks. You're right. You can be Anthony Michael Hall. Well, hey everyone. So much going on. We had a good day. As I said, I actually ordered a carb kit and rebuilt the carburetor. I've yet to test it.
Oh, that'll be fun.
This is the Kawasaki?
Yeah, the KZ400. But I had it running goodish. It just was leaking from places. And I needed to get some of like a float bowl gasket. Well, buying just a float bowl gasket, it's not much more to get an entire kit. So I got the entire kit. I was a little worried because it came with a bunch of parts that I couldn't.
Those are just suggestions.
I'm like,
if you can see through the hole, it stays.
Well, at first I'm like, are there more jets in this thing? I'm looking all over, but it came with 2 different needles of different lengths. So I'm like, wait a minute, there's only one needle. So I asked Emma, like, what's up? Why do I have 2 different needles? She goes, oh, they put a whole bunch of parts in there for different bikes. Oh,
Because look,
okay,
that carburetor kit isn't just for a
Yeah.
KZ400. It's for any other bike that happen to have those K-in solid slide carburetors on it.
Yeah.
So, you know, this
So it's cheaper to throw more jets in
Yeah,
there to have more SKUs sitting on a shelf. I guess.
universal kit.
But I was a little bit slow moving today. Yes.
Ooh.
You've been DCT.
Too much Indian
haven't you?
food?
DCT.
Well, you know, I don't want to poo-poo the DCT as John is so willing to do.
Well, as a champion
That
for
DCT
it
is gonna kill you,
so
baby.
many times in the past, you don't want to end up with egg on your face, do you, Liza?
I think we can agree with any technology. There's going to be pros and cons. I discovered a con. is
Yes,
all.
pretty big. So that truck too.
Uh-oh.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And it was something so stupid and so simple, just pulling out of the driveway and turning right. But there was a line of cars, as there is on weekends, because there's traffic, beach traffic. So I was going to just pull sharp right into the bike lane and go up to the light to make a turn. But when I started to pull out of the driveway, the bike surged a little bit faster than I thought, because you can't feather the clutch. You just twist the
Ooh.
throttle, and it surged forward a little more than I was ready to do. And as I was making the turn, I ran into a truck.
Oh,
She did.
Ouch.
I was there.
Yeah.
Poor truck.
Oh, you were there. You
I made a lot of noise.
I heard you scared the truck off. The guy saw you, he's like, I'm out of here.
Well, and the thing is, I was looking on the bike for the damage to the bike. There is none because I hit the truck. My leg took all the damage.
ooh.
My knee hit the taillight and broke it, shattered it. And then my lower leg got sandwiched between the bike and the motor and bounced me right over and threw me onto the sidewalk, where I got another nice bruise on the other leg where I got body slammed.
And you found out
Ouch.
the other disadvantage of the Africa Twin. It's quite a long way down, isn't it?
It's a long way
like
up.
falling
it's a long
off.
way up too.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's like falling off a 2-story
Oh,
building.
Especially into the gutter.
Yeah.
I hate seeing my friends crash. It's almost worse than crashing yourself.
And I was riding with John and Tad, and to their credit, they both like came rushing up alarmed. I've seen that look on Jim's face enough times.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Did you make the announcement as you were going, or did it happen too fast?
I was on comms with him,
Yeah.
and I had a camera
going.
on my handlebars on my face, so I have it all.
Oh,
the-
fun.
That's
Yeah.
what I heard.
Oh,
And then
no.
she
Yeah.
was on her ground like a little beetle bug going, "No!"
pinned underneath the
Yeah.
bike, but my boots did the job.
I run up and she's
There you
like,
go.
"Don't worry about me. Go stop him," because the truck was trying to move forward. So I had to run up there and tell. the
Yeah,
guy,
he
"Ah!"
kept moving. He kept going. I'm like, yeah, I want to make sure he knows I hit
Yeah,
him.
see, that's where you fucked up.
Hmm.
Right there. That's when you realize I fucked up. You just let him go. You know what I mean? If you
So,
didn't know.
No.
The gear worked though, because when I heard you went like ended up somewhere near the curb, I was like, "Ooh, that could be bad."
Yeah, I
I
bounced.
mean, you got some bruises and stuff, but
Yeah, I bounced onto the curb.
Well,
And then,
could we have a little history lesson about your knees anyway? Because I mean, your knees are a great long-running subject on Misfits.
This ties into
Yeah.
T2.
Well, and the funny thing is, I was okay. I mean, I got the wind knocked out of me, but I knew right away I'm okay, right? And my leg was pinned. I'm like, you guys take your time. Don't hurt yourself. Lift up the bike. I'll get out. Once I'm out, I'm sitting on the sidewalk. Now's where the fun begins. This is now the hard part. I cannot get on my knees or lift myself from my knees. So I'm basically on the ground straight-legged. I'm like, now you guys got to get me up. This is the hard part. You thought picking the bike up was hard? No, getting me up.
they just roll you down to a
is just as
handicap
hard.
ramp.
Liza
Basically.
Sacker Spuds Miller.
Yeah, so
Oh,
I
dear.
survived, and the bike survived. All the things did their job. I snapped the turn signal, but I just glued it and taped it back on.
In true supermotos.
Well, all the steering was all tweaked and jacked. And what'd you do? Just
Yeah, I
loosen
mean,
everything
John.
up and
Yeah, you saw it too, right?
Triple
Yeah.
tree, yeah.
It was off by like 4 or 5 inches.
Yeah.
It was like
Mm.
whack.
It was the risers, right? Or what
Wow.
it ended up being?
But I loosened the bolt on the riser. So on my Africa Twin opposed to Jim's, it comes with extra tall risers that are about 4 or 5 inches tall and rubber mounted. It is very easy to get them jacked and have the whole handlebars turning sideways, like 30
Right.
degrees or something. It's crazy.
yeah, but you just unloosened, right?
I just
Unloosened everything
loosened
and
it.
it went bang.
Knocked it back. Everything's good. I took all the damage. We always say like when someone gets in an accident, but how's the bike? And yeah, I'm like, yeah, fortunately I took all the damage and the bike's okay.
It's a dirt bike.
It is a
It's a
dirt
big
bike.
dirt bike.
I had a crash like that, and well, not like that, but in a couple years ago on Pumpkin.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost the same thing. Well, actually, it was a little bit different, but I hit
Did
the back
someone
of it.
stop short or something?
Yeah, and I just clipped them, but I smashed their brake light.
Was that when you had those fucking levers with the
That
nice
was-
Yeah.
blades?
That was exactly.
The
Oh,
guillotine
geez.
levers.
But they didn't do it. That's not what happened though. I mean, that's not the issue really. The issue was that I was going too fast and I hit him,
Right.
and then I just fell like kind of the side. But I also had a crash in Forest Hills a couple weeks ago. That was like I saw your bruise. It reminded me of the same thing because I had one on my leg, and I don't even know where it came from. But I
Handlebar probably.
yeah, so I don't even really remember what happened, but I smashed my head pretty good. And like I was like the last one. So I was just like, my first instinct was to like, all right, just get up, let's go. You know what I mean? But then I was like, wait a second. Like that was pretty hard. I should probably just like chill for a second. And then
And you banged your head.
yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't go unconscious or anything, but,
Yeah, but
I mean
still,
it was
yeah, it's a good time
know,
to take a break.
some stars. I had the taste in my mouth and I was like, oh damn. Like
Oh yeah.
but I went to pop up right away and like get the bike and like get back on trail. But I was like, the fuck am I doing? I'm like almost 40 years old. Like,
Right.
like just chill for a minute and
Yeah,
like
no sympathy. Yeah.
reassess, you know what I mean?
And these are the first crash reports we've had for a long time. Do you remember a couple of years
Yeah.
ago, we actually had listeners writing in saying, guys, you gotta stop crashing.
That was Henry.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Curve. He
That
threw
was
the
when
curve.
And
that was
Charlie.
when and me when I destroyed the prototype
Oh, yeah,
Trident.
yeah.
So
Mm.
there was a time when we were crashing a lot. So you've let us down, Liza.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
I
we
don't think
we
I
had
did
a
because here's the deal.
free streak.
Hey John,
I crashed 4 times in Hollister last week.
Well, that doesn't count.
John, did it stop our trip?
No, we went right back out again.
I just pushed that bike back, pulled out another one,
And I bet it was very entertaining for all the people in the cars watching.
and the pedestrians.
Yeah, usually
Well, they
people are
were-
like,
yeah,
whoa,
yeah,
that's
they
exactly
just
what it was.
freak.
No, I got right back on and said, let's go. I think you guys were more in shock of everything because
Oh,
I
yeah,
just kind
'cause
of
I was like, we're done for today.
But I tell you
No.
what, Liza, I bet you were in pain this morning.
oh yeah,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
pain now, but it's all muscles. So
Yeah.
hey, I got an announcement. It's a good
An
one.
announcement.
It's an announcement.
Can I do it in my best BBC voice?
The announcement.
Yes.
Do you know what it is?
No, but you can show me 'cause it's on a piece of paper.
Okay. Because we have our sponsor is back.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, you walked into that one, didn't you?
Stop.
Okay.
1 o'clock. Does one's clutch, Jim? Now I'm not going to tell you again. You fucking tosser. Does one's clutch need adjustment? Have you been putting off installing those new handlebars because you're not sure about wiring? Brake pads need changing? Fix Mahog can help. They have an amazing offer. Sign up for Fix Mahog premium membership with this exclusive Motorcycles and Misfits deal and get a full year of their premium membership for only $3.
$3.
$3. Wait just one moment. That's 96% off the normal price. Go visit.
Stop it.
Wasn't me. Was not me.
Go visit
Was not
Fix
me.
My Hog /Misfits to take advantage of this great offer. The discount will be automatically applied at the checkout. Join a community of passionate riders who are committed to mastering their wrenching skills. Premium membership will get you access to hundreds of full-length instructional videos led by master Harley-Davidson technicians. Their videos are focused on helping you develop new wrenching techniques and getting you inspired to complete new projects. Sign up for Fix My Hog premium membership now for just $3.
$3
for the entire year at capital G-O dot Fix My Hog, capital F, capital M, capital G .com/misfits. Go fixmyhog.com/misfits. What an absolutely splendid offer.
Mikey, I know like you're the only Harley owner in the room. Have you signed up for this? It's actually really cool. Are you familiar with this? Fix My Hog?
No, I have Recycle Garage on YouTube.
Well, basically, so you know how we go to YouTube to look for videos?
Yeah.
So Fix My Hog has been making videos and they specialize in Harleys. They've been making videos for years now.
Oh, I think
So
so
they
they
have
had about 20 years, didn't
Quite a library of videos to watch.
I think I've watched it before. Is the guy have like a really strong accent, like an East Coast accent? And he's a bit
There's
older.
a bunch of different people.
I've seen a Fix My. I think I've seen one.
But it's actually really cool. And we talked about this, how this is kind of the next generation of like,
Right.
rather than manuals. And if you don't have a Recycle Garage, a place like fixmyhog.com, and for $3 you get
Oh, you
access
can't
for
go
a
wrong.
year to all of their videos.
Now look,
Do you think they have like does that what does that replace though? I mean, like, because I like custom stuff, right? But like, is that really good if you like crack your primary and so they go through the whole like you
No,
know, get a
they-
gasket, get oil, do that, or is it like, oh cool, you want to take your primary off and put a belt drive on?
right.
Like,
No,
do
I
have that
think they
kind of
do
stuff?
everything. They do
Oh, that's
everything.
pretty
And
cool.
they even do the AMF stuff, you know. I think the cameras are steam powered for the AMF
Oh,
stuff because
really?
it's historical.
Yeah, they
innit?
started out doing
Interesting.
DVDs that you
Yes.
could buy.
Yeah, laser disc.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's really cool. So thanks, Fix My Hog, for coming back on as a sponsor.
Yeah.
Bagel, what have you been up to?
Well, I am making plans to come out to Vintage Motorcycle Days.
All right.
Oh, what?
That's
Yep,
awesome.
yep. I just got my vacation approved, and I'm heading out there to meet up with you all.
Oh, excellent.
So let's see. Let's get a roll call of who's going. I'm
wait,
going.
wait. I have a question. Why does Bagel's hair look like Ric Flair from WWF?
Because I haven't cut it since before
Oh,
COVID.
yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Looks
gotta
like
do
a
something about
Viking
that.
Jesus
god.
Christ.
Yes, and he's got a girlfriend now, so he doesn't have to.
No, there you go. Nailed it.
She probably likes to play with it, huh?
Mhm.
They play a little game called My Pretty Pony.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Nice horsey.
So who else is going to
Unicorn
AMA
edition.
Vintage Days?
I'm going.
Hey,
Woohoo.
anyone else in the room going?
Now look, I know what you're trying to do, Liza. And the fact of the matter is, and yes, I will announce it right now. Unless a miracle happens, I will not be going to
Oh,
that's
Vintage
so
Days.
sad.
No,
Oh,
I've just opened a motorcycle shop. I have. What are you doing, Liza? Excuse me. That's just Vindaloo talking. No, I've got a couple of quite high dollar bikes in that I have to get fixed for the clients. It's as simple as that. Work first, darling. It's all very well for you and Philippe, who are established in your careers, but I'm just starting out, and it does break my heart, but it is what it is. I'm
bummer.
very, very sorry. I may at the last minute change my mind and just dash out, but that's more unlikely than likely. So to everyone who's going to be disappointed, I am desperately sorry. But
How many days do you guys like, how long is the whole trip?
We're
Roughly.
taking the red eye Wednesday night. We'll be gone Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, flying home Monday.
What are you doing about bikes there?
Phil's hooking us up.
Are you gonna buy anything while you're there?
Likely.
So how are you gonna get bikes back? Is the
We haven't
question.
figured that out yet.
yeah. And you see, the thing is, Mike, and I do feel guilty, but what was a couple of day trip for me is now Thursday gone, Friday gone, Saturday gone, and Monday gone. So that's like that's nearly a full working week. And at this stage,
Do
I'm in
you
a
open
shop.
a tattoo parlor or a motorcycle shop? What the hell's the matter? You work?
Well,
You should really talk to your boss about that.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, well, I tried to get a pay raise out of her, and she's turning a deaf ear on it. But I have quite demanding clients, you know, because they're poshos, and poshos don't like delays.
Well, I will say one of the reasons I'm going, besides the live podcast that we'll be doing with the Cleveland Moto guys, I'm going to be doing Rev Sisters Film Festival, be playing films in one of the tents. There's going to have a row of tents that are like the AMA Hall of Fame Museum and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to be playing films. One of the films I'm so excited about, so many of them. If you've watched any of the Rev Sisters Film Festivals, I'm kind of cherry picking some of my favorites from them. But, and Jim, I know you'll be stoked about this. One of the films, one of my favorites, is the John Penton story.
Good one. Yep.
And I'm told that John Penton will be there.
Oh, cool.
As
Wow.
will the filmmaker, Todd Huffman.
And probably a whole bunch of the Penton clan. Oh, that
Yep.
will be rad.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So the Pentons will be there and the filmmaker. I'm like, what?
So are you playing into their theme? Is it on any Sunday theme that they're doing? So is your film festival playing into that? at all?
Only in that. I mean, that is the best film of all time.
Yeah.
But and they're going to be playing it Saturday night there, and they're bringing in artifacts from the film.
Mhm.
I think while
Steve
sending his
McQueen's like
bike.
ashes, as they kept bringing out.
No, I think they got his underwear.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah, yeah. If you pay extra, you can sniff it.
Ooh.
I have no comment. Smells like mothballs, I'm sure.
Come on, you would, wouldn't
I
you?
kind of would, yeah.
Oh my God.
And Emma, we have
Yes, darling.
we have a guest coming in.
Yes.
So you're going to have to save your story, but remind me, I want to hear about your guest in the bathroom.
Oh, yes.
But first,
The
We're gonna
continuing saga of Emma and the bathrooms at Mototown.
Oh my.
The soap opera. It's a soap opera, Bagel.
but first I want everyone to say hi to our guest tonight. It's Carmen Gentile. Carmen.
Oh, right on. Hey, Carmen.
Hey.
What's going on, folks? How you doing?
Hey,
Good.
doing
Hey.
great.
Hello,
Hopefully
Carmen.
you can see
It's-
everyone.
It's
Yeah.
I can see everyone.
It's
Right on.
great to see you again.
Yeah.
See if you can class the place up a little bit for us, Carmen.
You know what? The funny thing is, this is hysterical. This is the one angle. There's exactly just one angle in my home right now where it does not look like a tornado hit it. And I have found that angle for this shot. Because we just got off the road after like 3 weeks of riding around, and there is still gear all over the floor, right out of focus. Right back here, there's a right behind my back is just a pile of things.
I
like
can see the
like
edge.
3
I
weeks
can
of
see the edge.
3 weeks of mail. I just don't,
Now, Carmen,
go.
I'm
Perfect.
I'm going to get straight down to the nitty gritty, darling, because you have been a guest on our show before and very, very well received. You were one of our most popular guests.
Get
However,
out of here.
there are people who are watching this video right now, and this is solely for the people who are watching the video. Really
Sure.
doesn't matter if you're listening. Who are like, why is he wearing an eye patch? Carmen, in less than 2 minutes, tell everyone why you are wearing an eye patch.
I can even make it quicker than that. Here's the
Fantastic.
elevator version. Here's the 6th floor elevator version. In 2010, I was an embedded reporter with USA Today and CBS News working in Eastern Afghanistan. I was embedded with US forces there, not far from the Pakistani border. And we were walking through a very remote village one day, not anywhere near civilization as we well know it. Just a small, very tucked away little place in a corner of Afghanistan. And while walking through this small village, I heard a loud whooshing sound from behind me, and I turned around, and about 50 yards down the road, there was a man shouldering a rocket propelled grenade launcher. Folks familiar with that who play Call of Duty? That hit me in he had fired it, and the ordnance actually hit me right in the face, like
Oh, wow.
smack right here. And it miraculously did not detonate, but it did blind me in this eye and crush all these bones around my orbital socket. I had numerous surgeries and months of recovery, and then I went back to resuming my work as a frontline reporter. And
I'm
that's
sorry,
the
the 2
story,
minutes is
probably in
up.
45 seconds.
But truthfully, Carmen, if we total up the entirety of the world's population who have been shot in the face by an RPG,
correct,
still able to talk to us, I'm sure that list is one. And you're
I'm that guy. I am the trillion to one survivor. I've always been asked if I do in fact play the lottery or have any other good fortune in other facets of my life, and unfortunately, no, that's not the case. Not even
like,
close.
I already did play the lottery.
So I get no more than this.
And in fact, just a reminder for people, if you want to go back and listen to the episode you were on, you wrote a book called Blindsided by the Taliban.
That's correct.
Then you went back into doing journalism not long after that. I mean, that's real biker shit. But the update. That's the I will cherish that compliment. The one I will cherish the most. When people talked about the stupidity it takes to go back to frontline reporting after getting shot in the head with an RPG, calling it biker is right on the money. So
true biker shit.
I want to know. So there is an update to Blindsided with the Taliban. Is there any news you can share with us about that?
There were film rights that were sold before the pandemic, and somebody wrote a script for it. Since everything has been shut down, a lot of productions, I have no idea where it is where they are in development right now. And however, I am working on an audio version of the book that I hope to have ready by sometime later this year.
Okay, so my question
that I want to read myself, because that's the way I've always wanted to do it. Yeah.
But as far as the film goes, Carmen, I mean, who do you see playing you? Is it like
you know what? I'm terrible
Chuck
at this kind
Norris?
Of
yeah.
You know what? I think
Tom Cruise.
I think the way in which I'm stuck in my perpetual adolescence, I can only think of action stars or comedic stars from like the 80s or maybe the early 90s. I couldn't even tell you. I'm so woefully
Tom Selleck, actually.
Kurt Russell.
Like a Tom Selleck.
MacGyver.
I know.
I mean, MacGyver. Who played MacGyver? Who was
Michael Dean's something or other. Michael Dean.
Yeah, well, there
what
you
was
go.
that guy's name? That guy.
Michael Dean.
Yeah, he's like 70 years old now, but I'm sure he looks fantastic.
I'm sure too. Yeah, the MacGyver shit. But it really, to sum up, if somebody's listening to this and watching it, and who is this guy? He's fucking badass. That's who he is, and that's all you need to know.
You would be so surprised in the many ways in which I'm not badass. For example,
in our world, you are. So don't blow it, Buster.
Okay, fine. I won't.
We don't want to know about you treading on a Lego and going ah.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. Are you kidding me?
Well,
full welling up of the eyes.
you have stayed busy, and I know we've stayed in touch over the years and working out different things. But you have this new project you're working on. That's why you're on here to talk about it.
Sure.
Mention you got back from a trip. So can you tell everyone what you've been doing and explain what Postindustrial is?
Sure, will do. So I have always been trying to figure out how I can marry the two things I love to do the most, which is report and tell stories and ride motorcycles. So a few years back, I decided that I would give it a real shot trying to combine these two things. I did a couple of stories where I was riding motorcycles in Iraq while covering the war there. And this was back in 2017 and 2018. And then I decided that I was going to be turning more of my attention to the US because I saw how dramatically things were changing after the 2016 election and subsequently. So I've been spending a lot more time in the US, and I have a publication that I started myself. I'm the founder of. It's called Postindustrial. And it's a print magazine, digital, podcast network, and video. And what we do is we just focus on the Rust Belt and Appalachia. and that's post-industrial America, as we call it. The reason we did this was because we saw a lot of what was happening in American politics was happening most dramatically in these two regions, which share so much in common. Like, for example, they're both the industrial backbone of America for many decades, and that they've seen a noticeable collapse in recent years that has led to what we see as widespread unemployment. We've seen a great deal of opioid addiction in these two regions. We've seen a sense of hopelessness and despair that has led to a radicalization of certain segments of the society that was most recently manifest at the January 6th Capitol coup attempt, where a lot of people from these two regions came to the Capitol looking to disrupt the democratic process. So what we just came back, a long story short, what we just came back from, things opening up vis-a-vis COVID. We've been planning this for quite some time. Myself and my good friend and colleague, Jason Motlaw, who has a career very similar to mine. He writes for Rolling Stone. He writes for National Geographic. Check him out. He's really, really, really talented and interesting. The two of us came together and decided we were going to do this ride, starting in Pittsburgh and riding through Ohio, Kentucky, and West Virginia, just like a 1,500-mile loop to see how the country was faring. Our part of this important part of the country was faring, as it pertains to vaccinations and their feelings about the shifting political scene and racial justice and a lot of different things. And we did all this while riding motorcycles. We had a partnership with Royal Enfield.
Yeah, I want to talk about your choice of motorcycle.
Okay. Go ahead. So that's what I was saying. We had a partnership with Royal Enfield. Why did we choose those bikes?
Yeah.
Is that the
least American motorcycle?
Well, yeah. Okay. That is part of it. Yes, I would say so.
But also, I think very similar to like the communities you're going to. I mean, it's kind of the underdog. It's the, it's just going to keep chugging along, affordable. I mean, it really makes sense. You would think those bikes would be more popular there.
Right. Well, Royal Enfield recently opened I believe it's their headquarters in the US in Milwaukee, which may or may not be a shot across the bow to Harley from an upstart, which really, I mean, Royal Enfield produces a hell of a lot more motorcycles than Harley does every year, right? I mean, considering what they do in India.
Have a problem with India recently?
I don't think so.
Or
no. Oh yeah, wait.
Like
well,
major production.
Yeah, they were going to produce.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, in India. Yeah.
So I mean, and they also Harley got criticized for shipping some of their production overseas. Was this in 2017? Is that the incident you're talking about?
Yeah, I think also too, like their sales were like just not doing. They just weren't doing well in.
Well, their 500s and their 750s.
Yeah, they're like a huge market that they really wanted to tap into, and they couldn't take off or something like that.
Well,
Indian comes to Milwaukee.
Which models? Which models were you riding?
We were on the Interceptor and the Continental GT. I rode the GT and Jason rode the Interceptor.
So these are the retro.
Yeah.
It's not the new Pan America or anything. This is for
no. These are the.
I mean,
these
the
are their,
Himalayan,
yeah. These are their 650s. I weigh like 200 pounds, so it had enough pop with me on it, so it was great.
Well, I mean, we always snap back to the motorcycles because primarily we're a motorcycle podcast, as you know. My question to you, and I think it's a perfect choice. I think for what you did, there is no other choice. Maybe a handful of British bikes you could have got away with, but I think if you'd have been on a Japanese bike or even a Harley, it would have been too polarizing. I think the Enfields, if nothing else, they're very, very charming bikes. My question's very simple. Did anything fall off either one?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And you know what? We were greeted with a lot of curiosity from riders and non-riders alike who were like, what kind of bikes are those? It was funny. There was an incident. We were riding through West Virginia on our way back to Pittsburgh. This beautiful golden sunset. It was really nice. We were overlooking this field. And this couple drives by in a pickup truck, and I'm going to do a terrible West Virginia accent here.
Oh, let's hear it.
And this girl yells out the side. She goes, "What kind of bikes are those?" And I said, they're Royal Enfields. And she hits her boyfriend and she goes, see, I told you. She knew what they were. Like she had heard of those bikes.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So I told you. That was great.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So I mean, there was never any hostility about them, or people were like, well, that's curious. That's bikes from India. I'm like, yeah, but it's been around a long time. You know, it's a company as old as Harley. You know, they make like a gazillion bikes a year. You know, that outproduce, I think, everybody, right? Except for like Honda. I don't know. You guys would know a hell of a lot better.
Did you see actually how much moonshine you can carry on one? I think that should be a prerequisite. You got to make a moonshine run.
Well, you know what? We were going to try to hook up with some moonshiners in Eastern Kentucky, and we just ran out of time, which means we get to go back at some point, because that's definitely a story I want to do. You know, being able to do, and that's a
deliverance story.
Yeah, I mean, being able to like do the work I love and be able to ride at the same time this is what I think I've been doing, working toward my whole life. So I'm pretty happy right now.
Tell us about the journey. I mean, I can only imagine what you encountered. I mean, there were a lot of people whose lifestyles really have diminished in the past few years, but you said there were a lot of thriving as well.
Well, you know what? If the economics of the last 16 months have shown us everything, is that the pandemic has been economically polarizing as well, and that some people have done really well. Some people have managed to squirrel away money, whether or not they were, you know, because they were still employed, working from home, saving on transportation costs, maybe not going out. So, you know, that's, you know, some people came out of this in a lot better financial shape than going into it. And then, you know, you know, millions of people are still out of work in jobs that'll never come back in a region that has already been decimated by job loss and like all the other things I mentioned before. So there's a sense of desperation that is still very apparent, and
it's still pervasive out there.
Yeah.
Carmen, I got a question for you.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite story of somebody who reinvented themselves in their career in some really unpredictable way?
Wow. Like that I know personally?
Journalist question right there. Wow.
That is a good question. You know, it's I don't know if it reinvented themselves in a meaningful way to others, but maybe to himself. And I'm just going to give the random example that I can think of on the top of my head. You know, Daniel Day-Lewis is like retired from acting, right? You know what he's doing now?
What?
He's really passionate about cobbling shoes, and that's what he does. I think he just makes shoes.
You know,
the guy that just can crush any role. He could have a dozen Oscars if he wanted to, but he just only does the things that he loves doing. That's why he would only make movies like every 4 or 5 years, because he's not going to do a role that doesn't love, that doesn't mean something to him. And now he's decided that making shoes is the really important thing in his life. And it may seem odd to us for him to make this, you know, 180-degree turn and go into cobbling, but
I thought it would be
amazing that you could be so satisfied. What a sense of self that he must have that he could do that.
Carmen, let me help you answer this question. Even
Sure.
though I think I can lead you there, because I lived in Atlanta, and Atlanta was a post-industrial town. And when I lived there, what had happened was so much of the industry was gone, and it had, you know, become a very cheap and affordable city to live in. And from that, much like after a forest fire, how now that allows the flowers to get the light and grow, there was all this art and maker industry that came up out of Atlanta, because people could afford the space and the time and the places. So I'm wondering if you're seeing a lot of that coming out of these places.
Absolutely. That's interesting that you mentioned that, because one of the people that we visited for this story was a really interesting young artist named Justin Reese, and he lives in Youngstown. Youngstown used to be this huge, thriving steel producing town right up the way from Pittsburgh, and it has just been decimated completely. There is next to none of the original industry left. Nothing has come in to replace it. The housing stock is ruined to a large degree, or been leveled or condemned. But there are young people who are going in there and saying it's cheap. I can do my art and live here. And that this young man that we met, Justin Reese, does this amazing ceramic work in a kiln that he built himself, which he told me that, you know, because even City Hall has been gutted at Youngstown, nobody was paying attention, you know, to the permitting. I think he just walked in and got a permit in a single day to build this, you know, fire producing dragon in his backyard. And it was,
Right.
He's like, you know what, this is one of the advantages of all that coming down, that there are people who are, the creative class is coming in and taking advantage of it, just the way you mentioned. We've already seen that happen in Pittsburgh in a large number of communities. What I saw in Cincinnati when I was there I spent 3 days there on this trip, and I was really impressed with some of the efforts they've done to reinvent the city. Their mural game on their, you know, old buildings is so on point. It's amazing. There's really good mural art in Cincinnati. I couldn't believe it. And this is someplace that my media outlet covers, but to see it in the full light of day was really impressive. It's a really interesting town.
So,
even I was surprised.
I might be jumping ahead. This sounds like an end of interview question, and I promise you it's not, but I don't want to forget it. I mean, ultimately, were you, after making this trip, are you optimistic, or did you find it quite a depressing, pessimistic trip?
No,
I
think I'm
going to be a little bit of both, but
right. No, you know, I'm optimistic because, frankly, the not having that optimism, the other option, there's no option for failure. We're a very critical time in our country, and a lot of that discontent, like I said, is coming from the Rust Belt and Appalachia, you know, coming from post-industrial America. And there's a time where we're at a time in America's history where we need to figure out how to agree on a common set of facts and do it quickly. Otherwise, the American experiment is going to be in trouble. So I'm optimistic because I have to be optimistic. I met people there are a lot more sane people, I think, in America than irrational folks. And frankly, the problem is that a lot of the ones that are working in a separate plane of reality, they yell the loudest, and some of them have have a lot of representation in the U.S. Congress, Senate, and previously in the White House. So we gotta be mindful of that.
Yeah, and as spoken as somebody who's not native-born American, and I want to make it clear, is I carry an American passport now. I've been through the immigration process complete.
And Emma,
so
we could describe you as post-industrial.
Yes, you could. But I'm very optimistic too, because I think ultimately what makes America great are the people within and the American spirit. And you can define that however you want. And there's so many facets to the American spirit. It's robust. It is patriotic. It is hardworking. And there's an element of maverick about it. There always has been from day one. There's this element of, you know, poking the law. And it's almost mischievous, but it's always been there. But that's what's going to pull us through. And a lot of, as you say, a lot of the loudest noises, it's unfortunate now, are the ones that have the microphones. But you went down and you got down with the common people, darling, the nitty gritty, and you came out of it very optimistic. And I think that speaks volumes about what's going to happen for us in the future.
And
well, you know, go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of common people, I wanted to ask,
no one more common than me, darling.
Did you meet up with any motorcycle clubs on this trip?
Yeah, we did. We met, we started the trip by riding with the Ronin MC in Pittsburgh, and I'd written about them previously. They are a co-ed black club here in the Pittsburgh area. Really great bunch of guys and gals who I've come to really like, and I've spent time with them a few times. So we went on this ride. It was the first time that I had ridden with anybody else since before the pandemic. And it was the middle of May, and everybody's still trying to figure each other out. We're all vaccinated, we're outside. How do we deal with each other? I remember at one point, they were having like a little group prayer before our ride, and everybody's locking arms. I'm like, I'm locking arms with another person who's not my partner, Lindsay. Like, this is also like unfamiliar to me.
Right.
And all of a sudden it all clicked and came together. Like, okay, this is who we can be again. It's still a little bit modified, but we can do that. And so that, to me, we had a great photographer with us, as well as a really crack video crew. And there's this photo that photographer Justin Merriman took of me, and I'm locked arm with these two big burly guys. And I'm like, I was just had this look of glee on my face. Like, this is so cool that we're doing this now. Like, we all get to ride together and then go have a meal. It was really great. And so because I had that relationship with them, when I was in Cincinnati, I was supposed to hook up with this other female MC out there. And we were riding through the city, gathering some video shots that we needed and some stills. And I had a flat tire, something that like wedged into my tire. It looked like a knife blade. And so we were supposed to meet up with this female MC, and I called them up and I said, I'm so sorry, I can't make it. I have this flat. And this woman, whose club name is Sassy, she said, tell me where you are. And I said, okay. She said, okay, I'm on my way. Less than half an hour later, she shows up with another guy who's got a flatbed, puts the bike on, takes me out, and she introduces me to all these other MC members, hers and some other local Cincinnati MCs. And they take me to this club, and they're just having this amazing party on a Thursday night with the sun going down. It was just this phenomenal scene. And then, this woman I had just met, like an hour later, she's like, okay, I'm taking your bike, and I'll, call me in the morning and I'll tell you what shop I'm going to take it to. And I was like, I just met you, and I'm going to let you take this bike that Royal Enfield gave to me, by the way. And I'll be like, and she just took it away. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. I call her in the morning. She's like, it's at this shop. This is who's going to fix it. And this is how we're going to handle the situation. And it was like such magic, such amazing moto magic.
That's something that's cool about this moto journalism, because that's something we've all experienced out on the road. That is real biker shit. That bikers take care of bikers, regardless of what you're riding, where you're from. Bikers look out for bikers.
Yes.
So that's a really cool experience. And since you were on the bike, I'm wondering, what was like your favorite road or place that you discovered on a motorcycle?
Riding through West Virginia is always a treat. In fact, I was just back there yesterday. I from where I am in Pittsburgh, it's only like 40 miles for me to get to the West Virginia border. So I was riding around. West Virginia is amazing. It's really beautiful. It's really wrought with a lot of history. A lot of it is very complicated. And recent history is very sad and disheartening, but there are people there who are so resilient that they will never give up trying to, whether it's just get by day to day or figure out a new path for West Virginia. There's those types of people there. You talk about the maverick Americans. West Virginians are the mavericks of America. West Virginians, their whole mountain culture stems from hiding out from tax collectors and the draft board. Yeah, and the draft board.
Yes.
They left Virginia to become West Virginia because they didn't believe in slavery, although you still see Confederate flags in West Virginia. But it's stunning. The views there are amazing. New River Gorge is gorgeous. The parks. I recommend everybody ride through West Virginia. It's really, really nice. Yeah.
So, I'll tell you something that I really love about what you're doing. And before I say this, I just want to let everyone know postindustrial.com. That's where you can go.
If you go under the Post-Industrial Explorers tab, that's where all the motorcycle stories are from this last trip. And that's where we're going to do new ones as well.
And I'm going to say, especially in the last year, but before that too, I think we're all really at our wits' end with the media in general and what the media is feeding us.
Not you though, Carmen. You're good.
Well,
it's everybody. No, you're good.
Everything's got an agenda. There's misinformation. It's dividing the country. And what I love is that you're going around on a motorcycle to areas that no one's really paying that much attention to. And you're digging for the stories about just really cool people and cool things. It's refreshing.
You know, the other thing,
Thanks.
I was reading the story that when I think you guys published on the 6th, and the writing is really fun to read. It's really engaging right from the beginning. Yeah, it's a treat to read. So yeah, check. I found it on Instagram. Follow you guys on
Thanks.
Instagram, but click through there, and yeah, I think the online stuff you have is great.
Thanks. We're putting it together for our next print edition of the magazine as well. So we're going to really showcase a lot of those photos. I was writing those pieces. It was funny because, like I said, we're shooting a film for this as well.
Yeah.
So we had a 2-man camera crew, a photographer, a producer. We had 2 vehicles following us, and so every day was just a matter of mass coordination. And amid all that coordination, I'd be sitting somewhere in the corner with my laptop, being like, "Okay, I have 20 minutes. I got to write the shit. I got to get like, what did we do yesterday? I got some notes. Boom, let's get out the door." So I appreciate the fact that you like it, because it was written under such haste that I'm glad that it came out to be readable. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Easy. It was like easy to read. It was fun to read.
Great. That's exactly what I
Yeah,
wanted
yeah.
it to be. You know, I don't write. I don't write for motorcycle riders, and I don't write for people who aren't riders. I just write for people who want to hear a good story.
Right.
In fact, I can tell you with the utmost confidence that I am the least motorcycle knowledgeable person who's ever been on your podcast. I mean, seriously, if you had a potato on your podcast, that potato would know more about motorcycles.
I don't know, but you had mentioned the MCs earlier. Was the Ronin MC?
Yes.
Okay, if you're like an honorary member of them, you're even like way cooler than getting shot.
No, not an honorary member.
I just checked them
I
out.
do
I'm
not
like,
have
oh
that kind of
man, he
street
hangs
cred.
with a heavy crew.
No, they're not a heavy crew. It's
No,
so
I'm just
funny
kidding.
because they're
Yeah.
like,
Look like
you
fun
know, they go
people.
to church together. They're super, super nice. You know, some of them are school teachers, and they work in IT, and they just come from all these different backgrounds. One's a fireman, and you know, they're just, you know, good
They're real
folk.
people.
Yeah. They're just such a wide variety of them. And you know, I've always spent most of my life riding by myself, and I never sought out like riding with a bunch of other people, but I found it really enjoyable. I made me think, yeah, I want to do this more often.
Now,
Not being an MC, but maybe, you know, just get together with more friends and ride and do stuff like
now,
that.
forgive me because I may be confusing you with somebody else. I don't think so. Last time you were on the show, we talked, you were crushed because you had to abandon a Cossack in Iraq. Is that true?
Because my Ural?
Yes.
Yes. In fact, I saw it again a year later.
I was
it was
going
still
to
there.
ask me.
Yes. It was still parked in the same place. As far as I know, it's still parked in the same place in Erbil. And the last time I saw it, all the tires were flat. There was like garbage in the car. And I'm like, oh, son of a bitch.
You should visit it on Google Maps.
You know what? It's probably there. I know.
I know. You know,
I know.
it's you can visit it anytime on Google Maps.
I know.
And you know, I think it's quite sweet that you're still carrying a torch for it. It's been 2 years, hasn't it, Liza?
Oh no, it's been 4 years.
No,
yeah,
but it's 2
wow.
years since you were on the show, and you seem
Yeah.
You seem equally
yeah.
crushed, Carmen.
Oh
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
it was really heartbreaking to let that thing go like that.
Oh, I'm sorry to bring that up again, darling.
No, that's okay. You know what?
Remember,
I had a heavy heart when I did a ride through West Virginia again with a new Ural. My partner Lindsay and I did it back in November of 2019. So this is before the pandemic.
Right.
And you know, there's a new Ural. It handles beautifully. It's, you know, it's wonderful compared to the old one that I was riding that had no brakes or headlights or anything. And I was like, oh, I feel so bad that thing is still sitting there. God damn it.
we might need to reach an extraction there.
Yeah, I've got a guy there. I can talk to him about it. He'll check it out for me.
My question to you is, obviously Royal Enfield lent you these bikes. I'm
right.
sure they didn't give them to you.
No.
What's in your garage right now, if anything?
Oh yeah, I have my I have the biggest beater. It's a 2005 Dakar that I've had you know, in 6 different cities in which I've lived. And when I'm overseas, just recently, a friend of mine who was supposed to start it for me while I was away. It went dead for like 6 months and it broke my heart. That's another heartbreaking situation. But yeah, I have a 2005 BMW Dakar.
Right.
That is my everyday beater. But I just started eyeing. You mentioned Triumph earlier, and I just had a talk with them, and I to maybe do some work with them in the future. And I really got my heart set on the Scrambler. I think maybe come the fall, I'll treat myself. We'll see.
Those
Well,
are
you
cool.
know, Triumph
Yeah.
are very conscious of their image and very conscious of their place in history
Yeah.
and promoting their motorcycles in that way. So if anybody's able to do it, you are that person. So if you know, reach out. If you're getting any resistance from them, reach out and maybe I can pull a couple of strings for you. But
Oh, okay.
no, Triumph generally are very, very good about getting their bikes, getting the word about their bikes out to the right kind
Yeah.
of people. And I think you're really the right kind of person to do it.
I hope so. Yeah. I talked to them just recently about maybe doing another similar kind of ride in the South come the fall, where we would start in Atlanta because that's where they have their headquarters, right outside of Atlanta. And I wanted to ride through Tennessee and kind of do a loop that would take me through, northwestern Georgia, through Tennessee, come down through Mississippi, through Alabama, and then come back around. There's a lot that I could cover in like 2 or 3 weeks riding through there.
And like the Enfield, it's a perfect bike to do that on.
Right.
I mean, again, repeating what I said earlier, I think if you were to do a ride like that on Harley, it'd be a wonderful thing, but I think you risk dovetailing yourself into a certain group by riding a Harley. And conversely,
especially with an eye patch, I mean, it's just over the top. I don't know if I could ever ride a Harley.
And then conversely, as common as they are, Japanese bikes, you know, there's still some people that harbor bad feelings, but a Triumph, everyone loves Triumphs.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, even the Harley guys love Triumphs because generally they got the start on them in the 60s.
No, that is a cool bike. We have a friend who's looking for one right now.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, so we may be in competition with you for a good deal. But I just want to go back to just Postindustrial because the other thing that's cool is you kind of just glossed over. You said it's video, it's audio, it's print. I just want to recap for anyone who's like interested in following you and your stories. There's I guess you call it the blog that you can follow.
Oh, if you go to Postindustrial Explorers, if you go to postindustrial.com and look under the tab Postindustrial Explorers, that's where I was writing every day, doing my daily diary from this last ride. And I'm going to be doing future stories there as well, like more in-depth one-offs of just a particular place. That's why I've been spending a lot of time in West Virginia lately. Mm-hmm. I've been going back there the last couple of weeks, talking to folks in one town. I don't want to give away too much yet. Just I'm still in the fact finding phase, but you know, I love the idea of taking people to places that they would never normally even think to go because they've just written them off as being hopeless or just not worthy of their consideration. And it's I certainly don't gloss over the hardships that have befallen folks in a lot of these stories, but I'm also looking for people who could tell a different narrative than the one we always see in the national media. And I don't mean to treat all media as a monolith because I don't believe in that. But like there's certain, I noticed a lot in like the lead up to the 2016 election, there were a number of publications that would just like drop in on a small place like Johnstown, Pennsylvania, and talk to 3 people in a diner and be like, okay, we got this place figured out. Like that's you don't. In fact, I ran into a Washington Post editor a few years back, and I told him that I thought that they kind of effed that up, and he said, "Yeah, you're right. We did." So,
nice.
But that's the whole point. Like that's the whole point of what we do. Is like we're from here. I grew up in Western PA. I'm as post-industrial as they come. My dad owned a machine shop for 30 years, and so like I know that game. I saw my hometown just fall to pieces, and now they're trying to figure their way out, fight their way back. Through the arts and brew houses and people just, you know, bootstrapping it.
I've been to your town. I was surprised by how many bridges there are.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bridges.
What is more than any other city in America. Yeah.
It's a lot. I never knew that.
Yeah.
But you also have a Post-Industrial podcast as well as other podcasts under this platform. And then you said you're doing video. So what are we expect to see?
So we just shot a video we chronicled the whole trip. Like I said, we had a production vehicle following us with a two-person camera crew and a still photographer and a producer. So we are partnered with a production company in New York who's looking to, they're working on the video right now to create what's called a sizzle reel to shop it around as a potential, be it a series or a one-off about this particular moment and this particular area at this particular time in post-industrial America. We would like to turn it into a series where we would do more rides, both in the US and abroad, where we combine good storytelling and motorcycles for an audience that's not strictly for motorcycling.
Right.
You know, like I said, I'm not qualified to speak to the motorcycling community.
Well, the motorcycle
I can only
the vehicle.
Yeah, the
to get
vehicle.
you
It's the
there,
means by which we get folks to pay attention to something we think is important.
Yeah.
And we do it in a way that's not like you would see in a news piece. So it's not just heavy. We're not battering you with facts and you know, bad news, but we are trying to create an authentic representation of what's happening just in our journey, in our exploration. What do we see along the way and what we seek out? Sometimes we find things that don't look so good, and sometimes we find things that are great. And you know, we're just trying to chronicle the American experience at this time, in this very peculiar and challenging time in our history. And so we'd love to be able to do it again. Like I said, we want to go down south and do it again. I'd love to do it in a state by state way. And, you know, my friend who I'm working with is Jason Motlog and I both cover conflict for years. And we would love to be able to do it overseas again, you know, go back to Iraq and ride again, go to Afghanistan and ride. Although it's going to be really hard to do that now. Security's real bad. Or go to places like Haiti or all the other different places we've been going to over the years. We'd love to go back and ride bikes there and just tell a new story. Yeah.
You're not fooling us, Carmen. You just want to go back and get your Euro back. Don't
Yeah,
you?
I want to get my Euro back. You're totally right.
It sounds like
I
you're
must
using
make amends for that. Yeah.
You're using the motorcycle as a vehicle for an experience in a way that
a
four-wheel vehicle wouldn't do it.
Well, the thing here is, I think the point I'm getting to is you're producing a lot of content, you're finding the stories, and we're going to be seeing more and more from you, different outlets. And and here's the thing: the good journalist knows how to find the good stories. You know how we know he's a good journalist? He's got a Wikipedia page. Yeah, only the good ones do, you know.
Like the real Wikipedia.
So I wanted to thank you for coming on and sharing your story.
Thank
and
you
just
so much for having me. I
tell
really
everyone,
appreciate
go to postindustrial.com where you can sign up for the magazine, sign up for the newsletter. Is it newsletter?
Correct.
Yep,
Yes,
because I know I get
daily
the
digital edition. Yeah,
and like them on Facebook too.
Cool.
And Carmen, would you come back on the show in another couple of years, darling? I'm very, very eager to find out if you're still carrying the torch for your Ural after another couple of years.
I hope to have it in the background next time. How about that?
Okay, that sounds
Nice.
great.
All right. All right. Take care.
All right. Thanks, Carmen.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good
Yeah.
night there.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Have a good night.
So
Good night.
what a cool thing to do is
No,
to go ride around.
Super cool. Well, I was going
Yeah.
to mention we have a friend of the garage in Appalachia land, Matt Harris of 40 Cal Customs, who won the One Moto show like 4 or 5 years ago. He's deep in that, so he's in Arcola, Tennessee, and anyway.
Well, and it also what he's doing kind of reminds me a little bit of Ride with Norman Reedus,
Right.
in that because you're riding a bike, you're tapping into these communities. You know, you're not just a stranger pulling into town. If you're a biker, you're your family.
Well, I think we all know that. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
if you do any riding at all, you end up in a town at some odd time at an odd place, and you get to really get a feel for it.
It's for one that you can identify with the other motorcyclists, but there's also the fact that even to a non-rider on a bike, you're a lot more approachable than you'd be if you're just showing up
absolutely.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's great that he's telling these authentic, genuine stories, because I think that's really, really necessary these days, especially from these areas that are struggling.
Right.
yeah.
Well, the idea that maybe we could be one country again, that'd be beautiful.
Oh no, we
Yeah.
can. There's no question of that. We can. And what'll bring us through it are the American people themselves. I mean, I meant every word I said about it. There's a resilience about America that's really the strength of this country.
You think about, this summer with a lot of places, people, the mask mandate's going away.
Yeah.
And we can actually get to know each other as people again and do the group
Oh, it's going to
rides,
be
and that's going to
wild.
strengthen the fabric.
It's going to be wild.
Well, it's cool that he's going out and finding all these stories. But there's a story that he doesn't know about that I'm going to find out right now.
Oh.
The question is, Emma, what is on your bench today?
Oh, okay. What's on? This, we were thinking that this might become a regular part of the show.
What's on Emma's bench?
What's on Emma's bench this week? On Emma's bench this week.
Can I tell you, it reminds me of a game I used to play with Enzo when he was little.
What's in Emma's diaper?
No, well, I invented a game called What's in Enzo's Underpants.
Oh, God.
And he'd go into his bedroom and grab an item and stick it in his underpants, and then we had to guess what it was.
Poop?
Oh my God.
No, he broke the game when he put an
ferret?
Elmo doll in there.
Oh, sorry.
When another adult showed up.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, much like that. What's on Emma's bench?
What's on Emma's bench this week? On Emma's bench this week, I have 1952 Vincent Black Shadow. On Sur le Banc this week.
That's the one that you wouldn't let me put on the top 10 list.
I don't know. No, because I think it's a far too polarizing bike to be on the top 10 list.
So there's not that many people in the country who can work on a Black Lightning. What exactly are you doing to it?
No, it's not a Black Lightning.
No, sorry.
I haven't got
Black Shadow.
I was going to say
Shadow.
my shop insurance wouldn't cover a Black Lightning.
So what exactly are you doing?
So this actually is a very, very nice bike. It's been part of a private collection for many years, but it hasn't started in at least 20 years.
Ooh.
At least 20 years. So we're bringing it back from a period of slumber, and you don't just, put some plugs in it, change the fuel, and off you go. You can't do that. I'm systematically cleaning out the oilways, refilling the oilways, priming the oil pump, turning it over by hand. We're doing a lot of carburetor work. It came with new carburetors, which I'm not happy with. So I'm going back to its original carburetors from 1952. Yes.
I have a question, and this is a question in general.
Yes.
Because this is a classic bike that I'm assuming is not a daily rider, but instead is a
it's a weekend rider.
But it's a restored bike, or
no, it's original.
It's original. So my question for you, for somebody who has a bike like that,
yes,
what are the components?
Have good insurance.
What are the components on a vintage classic bike that are okay to upgrade and you haven't broken any rule? You know what I mean?
Oh God, there's so many.
Like light bulbs and batteries, stuff like that.
Generally, if you have, most of these bikes were 6-volt.
Yeah.
And 6-volt electrics are just everyone I know, from people who drive Bugs to people who drive vintage Buicks to the British bike crowd. Everyone hates 6-volt electric.
Because I know you're very finicky about, like, somebody can ruin a bike or make it worth less. So that's why I'm asking, what are the upgrades that actually?
Well, let's talk about the electrics. Upgrading to 12-volt is good if you're able. Replacing the wiring harness with, now the wiring harness on a British bike is generally cloth covered, and oftentimes it's like woven black cloth, and I'll put little green or blue tracers in there just so you can make sure that it's not twisted. So what are the tracers for? So you make sure you're not twisting the harness. If you were to replace the harness with, say, a vinyl harness, it'd look hokey as hell. So you want to try and keep an original appearing harness. So generally, the Vincent, it's such a valuable bike. I'm not treating it, say, as I would a Bonneville. So let's take a Bonneville if we can.
Okay.
And I get a lot of these. Grandpa's Bonneville, and grandson's inherited it.
Yeah.
And it hasn't run since 1965, but it's got no miles on it. So I say, okay, here we have the Bonneville. So first thing I do, is I throw away the wiring harness and I'll put a new wiring harness on it, genuine Lucas wiring harness. Unless there's a really good excuse why not, I'll bin the carburetors and I'll put new carburetors on it.
So modern carburetors.
No,
No, Amels. Yeah.
Amels.
Okay.
I'm not talking about putting the Kunis on it.
Right.
And the new Amel Premiers, from the outside, they look like the old Amel Concentrics, but they're very much improved inside. They've got a proper idle circuit. So we do a harness, carburetors, and then, you know, the usual suspects, cables, tires, tubes. Tires have come such a long way.
Tires, can you put any brand on, and does it have to be specific?
Well, here's something
brands or styles.
Here's something interesting. You always want to try and duplicate the look of the bike original. And you can get original tires. You know, Avon do a tire called the Speedmaster, which is unchanged since the 1960s in design. It's improved in terms of compounds. Not my favorite tire, but if you want to be super authentic, you put them on.
Can you overwhelm the old chassis with the new compounds though?
Oh yeah. So you got to be careful. You know, there's nothing worse than seeing an older bike, say a Norton Commando, with really modern rubber on the original size wheels. And I mean, well, your Trident, you know, it's got 17 inches with radials on it, but it was built as a resto mod.
So, and I'm just curious, if you take a, you know, classic bike and you put like colored LED lights on it.
Yeah, I mean,
does that devalue it?
Yes.
Yeah.
But in almost every case, if I'm repainting a bike,
and that would be for like, even if it's like a classic chopper.
Yes.
That would be really tacky.
Yeah,
to
because
do, right?
it's not of the time. I mean, if you're restoring a custom bike from the 1960s, you know, you want to try and make sure you're bolting stuff that at least available in the 1960s.
I just want to point out that.
No, I know you're throwing Mikey.
Throwing Mikey who's not paying attention at all.
I get questions.
Yeah, Mike, ask your question.
I'm just doing research.
I'll just catch up, Mikey. We just established that, and you can pretty much replace anything except for putting
no, I heard everything
LED
she said.
lights.
Don't change the rubbers.
Colored
you know,
LED lights on a bike will devalue it.
But
you're making fun of me.
If we,
I'm trying to get serious here, and you're fucking around. Right.
But
if what's going on here?
If we kind of loop back around to the Black Shadow, the Black Shadow is kind of different because number one, it's a very valuable bike.
Yeah.
Right now, my insurance company is calling me every day and saying, "Have you got rid of the Black Shadow yet?" No.
Oh, jeez.
No, it's that valuable.
I have a question for you.
Yes, darling. Far away.
Say like, is this bike up in Scotts Valley? Do they have one of these? Have we seen one up there at that? What's that? Coffee? Where coffee and cars?
At Canepa?
Canepa, yeah. Canepa's got a Black Shadow.
They got a Black Shadow. All right, because I've seen it.
Ironically, most of the Black Shadows left are in California now.
Well, what's the one at Jameson?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's a Rapide.
Rapide, yeah.
Oh,
that's a Series C Rapide.
What about the place down in Monterey? The Jameson? Was that what you were just saying?
No, I don't think
Rob Talbot has.
I don't think Rob's got a Black Shadow.
Okay, so here's
yes.
So I have a couple questions.
Yes.
Was this bike built for speed or for handling?
Bit of both.
Okay.
I mean, the Black Shadow arguably was the R1 of its day.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Was there technology on it? Because I'm looking at it. And
no,
I'm
it's the highest. It's the highest technology available. But what made it different? What made it so different was really just the cost of it. And you've got to understand the world it was born into. You see, the R1 is an amazingly technologically advanced motorcycle, but it's cheap as chips. I mean, strictly speaking, any working schmo can afford one. I mean, what are they? 20 grand? 20 grand out the door.
Maybe
no.
20,
yeah, something like that.
You know, so it's an affordable bike. The Black Shadow, as we know it, even though its roots go back pre-war, the Black Shadow, really 1948 to 54, right? You know, that England was broke. It was an extremely austere country. I mean, England was flattened after the Second World War. Birmingham in particular, Coventry, London, all the major cities were, and nobody had any money. There was rationing there was food rationing in England right up until the late 50s, early 60s. And in the middle of this was born this amazing motorcycle with all this technology. It was super expensive. The closest analogy in the car world is the Duesenberg.
Mhm.
And, you know, Duesenbergs are super exclusive, not just because they're fucking brilliant motor cars, but they were born in the Depression. So there was a tiny, tiny handful of people who bought them. And that became part of the legend and the allure of the car, is the who's who have bought these things when they were new. And so it is with the Vincent Black Shadow.
Well, can you tell us about some of the technology on it that was innovative then?
Twin brakes on the front.
Can you like advance the timing manually?
No, automatic.
Okay, yeah,
And that was huge.
Yeah.
Because up to that point, you had a lever on the handlebar.
that's right.
And you retarded the ignition to kickstart it, so
Yeah.
it didn't send you through the garage roof. And then you advanced it
Mm-hmm.
by hand. And on the old bikes, you tended to run out of hands because you had the air lever, you had the advance and retard, and this and this and this and this. So it did a
Yeah.
lot of things automatically. It had twin brakes on the front, left and right, which were linked. Some of them had linked front brakes to back.
Mm.
It had twin brakes on the rear, so it had a drum on either side. A couple of them had twin chain drive. This one doesn't. Everything was quickly detachable. You can take the wheels off with your hands because nothing requires a wrench. Everything's got, including adjusting the chain. You know, we adjusted the chain on your Harley.
Mhm.
You can do that by hand on a Vincent.
What about the suspension?
So it's got front and rear suspension.
Mhm.
Now, this one's got what's called a Girdrolic fork on the front, which is, it's like a girder fork. Its origins, yeah, there you go. Its origins are like a Springer, but it's not a Springer. It's actually a
It's like the
girder, but it's got
Confederate.
a hydraulic. Yeah, it's like a Confederate.
Yeah.
You know, the Confederate, not the Hellcat, that wild
No,
thing.
no.
Yeah.
But
They
it
did a
looks
good-
just like, it looks similar, but scaled down.
Right. But it had rear suspension as well. Now that's
The
amazing.
monoshock, though, because
Yeah.
everything had the single or the doubles, right?
Yes. Well, this has got the doubles, but it's set up like a monoshock. You know, the shocks are flat under the seat, fully adjustable. And so it goes on and on and on and on. And when even the hottest bikes made 30 horsepower, and I know people are sniggering right now, but 30 horsepower was plenty of horsepower for a motorbike in the 1940s.
And we know if you take off all your clothes and lie down, you
Yes.
can go pretty fast on them.
The Vincent had 60. The Vincent, Rolly free on his Black Lightning.
Yeah.
The Vincent had double the horsepower of everything else. There's a lot about the Vincent I like. There's a lot about the Vincent I don't like. They are a pain in the ass to work on.
Can you tell us about the exhausts on it? Like the whole 2-in-1 and
Well, it's got
just the way that they're like the heads are turned and
Right. Well, the thing is, if you think about a Harley, so what the Harley does, the front cylinder is on forwards. So the exhaust comes out the front and the intake's coming out the back.
Yep.
But the back cylinder's on backwards because the intake's coming out the front and the exhaust is coming out the back. And it's not that efficient. Whereas on the Vincent, they're both facing forward. So you get this glorious sweep of exhaust pipe front and rear, and the carburetors face backwards. So the front carburetor sits under the gas tank and the back carburetor sits low under the seat. Funnily enough, there was a Japanese cruiser that duplicated that. Of all things, the Suzuki Intruder. Everyone kind of like disses the VS800 Intruder, but as far as cruisers go, it's an amazingly advanced cruiser, light years ahead of the Virago, because it was kind of set up like a Shadow.
And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that the Vincent took a page from the Model T.
Yes.
In that you can get it in any color you wanted, as long as it was black.
Not true.
Okay, because I've only ever seen.
No,
it's a black shadow.
Well, no,
But I've only ever
It's
seen.
not a fucking
Okay.
red shadow
Huh?
or a
So-
green shadow. It's a fucking black shadow.
Well,
Have you ever seen one in any color but black?
yes.
It's a black shadow.
That's
So-
what I
It's
wanna
called the
know.
black.
No, we've never seen a
fucking
black shadow and anything
Stop.
in black.
Its shadow is black. That's
Couldn't I
right.
get it in green?
Wait,
Could you
wait,
imagine her
wait.
rolling up and being like, "Can I get a
Just-
black shadow in green?"
You
They'd
just
be like, "A shadow's fucking
Just
black."
Simmer down there.
You just hang on. They came in black, obviously. The singles came in gray,
Oh.
and you could also specify the Rapide, which was the slightly less performance Black Shadow, in Chinese red, which is real hooker red color. And they look glorious because they didn't just paint the tank red. Every single component that was black on the bike before, and that means the frame, the forks, the wheel hub, everything was red. You should look one up. Scott's got his phone up. Look at Vincent in Chinese red. It will absolutely blow your mind.
I was just looking up the UK National Motorcycle Museum. Visited over there in West Midlands.
Yes,
and they had like 5 or 6 of them there, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a hot spot. They lost a couple of them in the fire, but they got some of them.
That's right, the big fire.
So what did they go for? Like a Black Shadow?
A real Black Shadow?
100,000?
Yeah. Oh no, double that.
No. When they were new.
Oh
what
God, I'm terrible with 1940s
better yet,
prices.
so how would they compare to like the
Maybe
cost of a Bonneville?
$1,000, I'm guessing.
Would it be 2 times a Bonneville? Or
Oh yeah, four
is it?
times Bonneville.
Oh, okay.
All right, Emma, we
Yes.
know that you know a lot about bikes.
Yes,
I'm going to ask you a question I'm curious about, and I'm also very curious if you know the answer,
yes,
and I will be surprised if you do.
yes,
So I'm not setting you up for failure here. I just had the question.
yes.
What was the first motorcycle to be made in factory red?
In factory red.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be some sort of thing that was used for the fire department?
No, not necessarily, because I mean the reason that like Model Ts
Oh.
and many bikes are black, it dried faster. There's a whole assembly line thing, but
Oh,
red
know.
is a very hard pigment. I'm curious, what's the first bike that came in red?
Indian.
Indian? Yeah.
No, it's got to be Indian. And I'll tell you why Indian for the racing.
Oh.
Indian pitched their selves, and it was the same reason that do you ever remember a car called a Chaparral racing car? They were very famously orange, and the reason they were orange because Jim Chaparral realized that when these races were being televised, even in black and white, the orange showed up as a completely different shade. And I think that's why Indians painted their bikes red, because against the boards on the board tracks, which were primarily dark, the red bikes showed up far more than the green Harleys. So
Interesting.
I'd put money it's Indian.
Do you think it had anything to do with being less likely to be hit by another vehicle on the track?
Oh God, they didn't think about things like that. Safety last.
All right.
Safety last. But
Scratch that
anyway,
theory.
so that's what's on my bench right now. I actually went down the workshop yesterday with the door closed and did probably a full day's work on it, just tinkering, sending oil down various holes and sucking oil out of various other holes. And then I'll probably spend another couple of days on it, and I'll just tentatively see if I can coax a little bit of life out of it. And then I would like to deliver it back to the client for the 4th of July.
So would your insurance company. They called me about that.
They will be when I get rid of that Vincent, they will be celebrating. However, it'll be very, very short-lived because it's being replaced by an Ariel Square 4.
If you really want to make them happy, bring in a 98 Shadow.
Yes.
A Honda Shadow.
Yes. But yeah, they will be celebrating for a very short time, but then the Ariel's coming in. And hopefully that should be, I'm hoping it's going to be a short job, but it might turn into a long one. You never know. You mess around with old British bikes, even the most simple job.
Well, I'm going to hope that you do get it done fast so you can catch up on everything and possibly come with us in July.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I mean, I've got to be honest with you, Liza. The Black Shadow is part of it. I simply do not want to leave a motorcycle of that value in my workshop with basically the whole of the motorcycling community knowing I'm away from my workshop. So
I see an Ariel Square 4 turned into a chopper.
yeah, they were quite popular chops back in the day. I
Yeah.
would love one.
It kind of looks like Liza's old chopper.
Yeah. Big
The
old
blue one.
big old block of an engine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll have to see what you have next. Well, now you've already told us what's next.
Yes.
I wanted to check in real quick with Jim because you went to Hollister Hills on not the normal bike of choice.
Yeah, not the
Is
normal.
this the
normal
first
rig.
time you've taken the Africa Twin?
Oh God.
Yeah,
dirt
I
biking?
know. Yes.
Are you all smashed up, Jim?
I missed the trucks. So yeah, did not hit any trucks. Yeah, so first time I took I've taken the Africa Twin in dirt plenty, but first time I've taken it to Hollister Hills.
Yeah, which can get a little more gnarly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, most of the riding, we've done or I've done the Africa Twin. It's more fire road stuff, all that, with the exception of Jocelyn's class, which was pretty hardcore, right? But that was great. So yeah, it was kind of nice to get out on the trails and and like put it through its paces. Well, it's one of the things. It's a durable skill, right? If you don't practice this stuff, you forget about it. And I don't want the Africa Twin just to be like the touring bike, right?
Well, and the fact that you went by yourself, which means you would have to pick it up. Did it fall over?
No, I went to great lengths not to eat shit. Well, because that's real though. I mean, and at some point it'll happen. I mean, it's happened before, but luckily not. And it had been a while since I went down to Carrizo Plain with Matt on that trip since I've been on the bike. And only, sections of that were challenging, not a lot. So, and I do want to do some trips in the fall. I might go to New Mexico and Utah later this year. So, if you're going to do that stuff, you got to, practice, right? Yeah. But it was fun. I run the Shinko 704, 705s on it. And they've been great tires. And it was crowded. I got there late in the day. About the first half hour was I won't say terrifying, but it was kind of anxious, like getting used to the big bike again and, taking traction control off and the ABS off and all that kind of stuff. And you notice it because you get tired really fast. You're anxious, you're gripping everything really hard. You're not to it. So after the first half hour, I just went on the easy trails over and over and over.
Did you do the teeter totter?
No, I was tempted. That I almost got on the TT track, but there were some fast people on there. But I did do the other playground, which was cool. So yeah, I just it was like before, a mix of hard pack and sand. So the sand, it gets your attention a lot more. 500-pound motorcycle.
I mean, I kind of felt the same way first time I took the KLR there, but it did great. I'd be intimidated doing some of the trails we do with the Africa Twin there.
Yeah, by the end of the day, I think maybe I spent 2 hours there. Not an awful long time, but it was it was enough. I burned a bunch of calories and drank a ton of water. But it got smoother and smoother. Imagine that, right? So the more I practiced, the more I relaxed. That's what you realize, and you start going a little faster. But where you notice that you're improving is you're not as tired. Your arms are relaxed. You're not like I felt better almost at the end of the day than I did in the beginning of the day. And you just do the stuff that you do on the little bike. It's just on a bigger bike, and you do it a lot slower. You don't go nearly as fast. But I will say it was more fun. I think I'll take it back some more. And if I'm with some of the people, try some of the more difficult trails. You just go slower. I mean, that's the trade-off. But it was a nice change from the 250. It's fun to ride. It's easier, right? But it's also nice, didn't have to unload a bike and, do all that kind of stuff. And so it was fun. Yeah, it was great. The African, it did great.
Well, I have a story about the KLR. I wish that he could be here to tell it himself. So I'll tell it because I think it's pretty cool. So Eric from New York was here on business, and he ended up with a day off.
Cool.
So he went on a twisted road and looked for a bike here in the area because he's working in Santa Cruz, and he found my KLR. I have 2 of them on there, and he's never ridden an adventure bike. He rides a 900 Vulcan cruiser. And he thought, well, this would be fun. I'm in California for the first time. I'll get a little adventure bike. So he just pinged me, hey, can I rent your bike like today? And I was like, yeah, I'm around. Cool. And so he came and picked it up. And I'm used to people knowing kind of who I am or what the recycle garage is. He had no idea. I'm just, some lady with a KLR. He didn't even look in the garage and see all the other bikes. And he's like, well, do you have a place you can recommend? I need to be back by tomorrow afternoon. Is there a nice ride I can do? I'm like, you've never been here before. Okay. So get this. So he's riding the KLR. I sent him down Highway 1 to the Old Coast Highway and back up Highway 1 through Big Sur, Carmel, He had an amazing time.
That's great.
That's cool.
Nice.
An amazing, what a great road to
It's beautiful. Yeah. If you haven't been
24 hours before, you weren't even planning this. And then suddenly here's where you can go. He had a great time. So shout out to Eric if he's listening. He came by to return the bike today, and the garage is in full swing, and he's just looking around like, what's going on? I'm like, you don't know
How funny.
where you are, do you? Okay.
I can recommend a podcast for you.
I can recommend a
So
podcast.
how much was the what, $75, $80?
No, you know what? I think I have it too cheap right now.
Mm.
I forgot how
Hand
much
job in
I,
the alley,
I
would
dropped
you?
it way down. No, it's like $50 or
What a
something. Maybe.
deal.
Wow.
It's like dinner for one person.
I dropped it down just because I want people to have a good experience, but I want to have cheap bikes available when I go out there. So it
Right.
starts with me, you know?
True.
But Bagel,
Yeah.
do you have something new in the background?
Yes.
What is that?
Yes, I pulled out my N-1 bike. This is the bike that I will be selling to its previous owner next month.
Right.
It's a great story.
Yep. So I decided to pull it out, dust it off. I sent her some pictures so she could see her old bike again. And I've made arrangements to take it down there the weekend before Vintage Motorcycle Days, which is the start of my vacation time. So I'm going to make a very quick trip down to Santa Rosa to deliver the bike. And I think I'll probably hit Santa Cruz after that.
Yay.
And I might be around for the garage on Sunday before I head back up.
All right.
Oh, fantastic.
And then ride on my way to Ohio after that.
Aha. Oh, you're
Yep.
going to ride out there. That's even better.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So,
cool.
But yeah, Christina is very, very just absolutely thrilled that she's going to get her old bike back, and she's just over the moon. So I'm thrilled to be able to do this for her.
So, Bagel, it looks in kind of tough shape.
Well, it's actually in good shape. It's just the taillight lens broke when I was moving it around a couple of years ago.
Are
Unfortunately,
the wheels on that? I can't
Oh,
tell
yes.
if the wheels are.
Yes,
Are
they're very tiny wheels. They're 8-inch wheels, so
Oh,
it's
good Lord.
it's very low to the ground.
That is tiny.
Yep, and that's the VBB. It is an 8-inch wheeled Vespa, and that's what I rode through Pakistan, 2,000 kilometers, 5 years ago.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, I think we got a lot of emails to catch up on.
Mm.
I wanted to share one. This one is from Doug, and he says, "Hey, all, this is Doug from the One Show of Doug and Rudy.
Hello, Doug of the One
Hey.
Show from Doug and Rudy.
I've been meaning to write to say how much fun it was to meet the three of you. I did hang out and shooting the shit with, even though Liza did beat me at the remote control motorcycles. That was so much fun. Also, how happy it made me to hear your report on the show and the love you showed my bike. Thanks, Emma. It has become a regular event for me to listen in while out in my garage working on something while I have your podcast on." He says, "You mentioned that you know Craig Vtr, and I was hoping you could help." Craig Vtr.
of Hippo Hand fame.
Oh, that guy.
Hippo Hand fame. I was hoping you could help me contact him or introduce us. I have an owner's manual for my Hurricane and would love to have him sign it for me.
Oh, that's the easiest thing in the world.
Ooh.
I also wanted him to know the story of my bike and that I'm educating the youth of America on some of his landmark designs in the motorcycle world. I hope to someday come down to your area and hang out again. And if not, I'll be at next year's One Show again. I got to practice on those toy bikes for a rematch.
Right. So here's what's going to happen. You are going to grab that workshop manual, going to come down to visit us, and then we'll go up to the Vetters.
Exactly. That's exactly what
And
I
that's
was gonna say.
exactly what's going to happen. And you can sit down and talk to Craig for at least 2 hours because he loves to talk. And we'll go to the pub or something, and then we'll come back and get you, and you'll have a signed book. How about that? No,
Yeah.
the Vetters are very, very accommodating people, and knowing the reverence which you keep one of his products in, he'll be more than happy to sign your book. But yeah, do it personally because it's all about human interaction, what? And Craig is still on the road to recover free from his traumatic brain injury, and meeting new people is definitely the tonic for the troops. So I've just given you an excuse to come to California.
All right. And then, John, you have one there. This was when we asked for people to send in bikes they thought were most misunderstood.
Ooh.
All right. So this is from Gavin from the UK.
Hello, Gavin from the UK.
Where's the UK?
Where's the UK then?
That's what I'm saying.
It's the yuck. That is the United Kingdom, also known as Gore Blimey Land.
There we go. Okay, I think the Bandit 1200 is misunderstood as people mostly think of it as a commuter bike.
Yes.
I look at it as one of the best all-around bikes out
Yes.
there. The 600 is seen as my first big bike,
Yes.
cheap and cheerful, but the 1200 is fast even for an older bike. And it
Yes.
can be tweaked and upgraded to be everything from a drag bike to a touring bike to a
Yes.
stunt bike.
Yes.
And I've seen even seen them done as a cafe or power scrambler.
Yes.
At least in the UK, I would put the 600 and 1200 in the list as one of the best bikes ever made.
Yes.
At least one of the best engines anyway.
Yes.
Oh, and did anyone notice that after all the suggestions for the best military bike, Liza overruled it in the end anyway, but I wouldn't have expected anything less, LOL. Keep being great. And yes, I do ride a Bandit.
Yes. And, you know, absolutely right there. But I think it was at Crossroads. There's nothing misunderstood about Bandits. They're brilliant. And they're absolutely wonderful bikes. Misunderstood? No. But best bikes? Oh, I would say definitely.
All right. And then Scott has a general question.
General.
General question.
We
for-
don't know anything about generals, majors, or sergeant majors, but we'll try.
It's a little off topic. and
Maybe
it's
lieutenants.
Military bikes. Yeah.
Okay.
This is from Ali in Washington.
Hello,
Hey,
Ali in
Ali.
Washington.
Hello.
He says, "Hey there, all. What happened to Moto Bandito? I missed those ads. Stay safe and ride hard."
Oh, God.
BAND-IDEO.
We used to do all sorts of crazy fun shit.
Yeah, for people who don't know,
I like the
Um,
snap-off tools.
we used to have fun with that. We'd create these fake commercials for a company, a fake company we created called Moto Bandito that made motorcycle accessories that were just ridiculous. And we just had fun with it. It was just something we did for fun. And I don't know.
Like Moto
we-
Bandito depends for those
I think
longer
the
rides.
best one is the sex toy toolkit. Yes, it has the intro to anal flare.
Oh,
Yes.
very nice.
And the urethral sound tire plugs.
I don't know. Maybe we need our listeners to write in with new product ideas, and we can come up with some new ads.
And the winter riding gimp mask.
We
There's a
can
lot of
blame it
good
on
bits in
someone
there.
else too, Bagel.
Yeah. So, and you know, there's the Moto Bandito tune upgrade for your engine, including triple underhand crap shafts,
Well, you know how it all
mass flowed port and lemon.
you know how it all started.
What's
I
that?
had this idea. I don't know where I got the idea. I just thought it was hysterical. So many Harley riders
Yes.
just think that bike can do everything. And I also know that a lot of owners are kind of blue collar, hard workers. And I thought we need to create the overhead lumber rack for Harleys.
Ooh.
Contractors. And that was the first Moto Bandito we recorded with Lucas.
That's great.
A Moto Bandito overhead lumber rack for Harleys.
I was hauling mulch on my GSA last week.
There you go. And it's just I've always had that visual, you know. Mike has one. This was going back to the question when we were talking about what should the modern GI Joe motorcycle be.
Oh, good-o.
Yeah, this one's well, I don't know who it's from.
KLR?
No, it's GI Joe.
Yeah.
Oh,
it
it's from
says-
G.I. Joe.
Oh, yeah, that's what
Oh.
it looks like.
Wow.
Okay.
Well,
Wow.
that's just the title, GI Joe.
Yeah, it's about
Okay.
the GI Joe bike.
Yeah.
What should be the perfect GI Joe bike?
A Pan America with an even wider headlight, which has mini heat-seeking missiles, airless tires, HUD helmet with thermal imaging, and to top it off, a mortar where the passenger seat would be.
There you go.
Only thing that is missing from that bike is the mural of Chuck Norris in relief on the gas tank.
I'm gonna agree though, because I think
What, on the Chuck
G.I.
Norris?
GI Joe being the all-American toy,
Yes.
Mhm.
that it should be a Harley. And I never thought the Pan America would be great for that. I think you're onto it.
Now, is Harley actually considering a military version of the Pan America?
Well, Harley will consider
With Chuck Norris in
anything.
first
Anything will
person,
make
it
worse.
relieving himself on you.
Yes.
Hmm.
You know, I think actually Harley, now bear with me on this, for all their adventure bikes from this point forward, I think they should dispense putting Harley on the tank, and I think they should just put Mattel on the gas tank. Because it is. I mean, it's toys for grown-ups.
So
Oh,
if Chuck Norris peed in the airbox
Or
of a
Hasbro.
Harley, would it make it go stronger?
Oh, yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
That's another 20 horsepower right there. You can smile all you want, Bagel. There is no wheels on that scooter behind you. I'm telling
there
you, I
are.
no, there isn't. I can see from here. There's
They're
no
teeny
wheels
tiny.
on it.
They're about. Here,
No,
that-
there's no. Look,
that big.
She's right. There's no wheels.
there's no
Emma.
wheels
It's
on it at
floating.
all.
Emma,
Yes.
Chuck
Here, I'll
Norris
show
can
you.
be on the airbag or on the air filter and tell you that rats didn't do it
Yeah. No, Chuck Norris can do anything he wants because he's
and still
tough.
sell you the
He's
bike.
tough.
There, Emma. Is that better? Does that prove it to you?
Oh
No, there's no
That
wheels
one
on that
time.
bike at all.
That was photoshopped.
Yeah, exactly. Those are cardboard wheels. I can't believe, Bagel, that you're selling somebody a bike, a scooter with cardboard wheels. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
All right, Emma. You got to.
Well, you know, it needs a little bit of work.
Okay, I have an email here from Carlos. However, let's have a look. Hey there. I was wondering if you guys could interview Del of Del Boys Garage. This isn't something I'm familiar with.
Aha, there you go.
I would also be interested to know Emma's thoughts on him and his channel. Well, I haven't got many so far, Carlos, but I will find out more for you. And if she has thoughts of doing something similar, well, I could. Depends whether he's cool. I mean, if he's cool, I like doing similar things if he's cool, but if he's a total wanker, I don't want to. I watched his latest restoration project on the Triumph Thunderbird TT Legend, which are very nice bikes. And it taught me so much as someone who doesn't have a garage nor is able to get a motorcycle to strip down, restore and rebuild as a learning exercise. I need to dip into what this guy is doing, because if it's kind of entry-level stuff, that'd be great.
And I wanted to say we get a lot of emails asking us about certain YouTube channels, and they're ones that maybe I haven't watched yet. Del Boy's Garage is one we get a lot of mentions, and then there's a lot of people mention Itchy Boots. Do you follow Itchy Boots?
I
Joe?
follow Itchy. Yeah.
You follow Itchy.
Yeah.
It's a woman who's riding around the world,
She's great.
and she does all the filming and everything. It's pretty high production.
Good production values.
Yeah. Itchy Boots is a great one. So maybe you need to check out
Everride. I
Del
love
Boy.
Everride.
Do you remember, Liza, before the pandemic, that Henry Cole's agent reached out and wanted us to interview him? Do you remember that?
Yes, we're not supposed to say that, but yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter, because perhaps she could reach out again, because I would like to talk to Henry Cole.
You want to know a secret?
What?
Promise not to tell anyone.
Go on. It's just us, Liza.
I got his cell phone number.
Oh, perhaps we should call him.
They set us up for the call and then canceled it, and I kept the number.
Ooh!
That doesn't mean we can't call right now.
Right now. So right now in the UK, it is
Now that could be an interesting interview. We don't tell him.
1:45 in the
Just cold
morning.
call.
No, call him now.
That could be a whole new thing. Let's
My
get
God.
people's phone numbers and start calling them.
Ooh, that's a good idea. Let's call Kenny
Yes,
Roberts.
is this
That would be good.
Valentino? Hi, this is Liza.
Is your refrigerator running?
You may not want to call him this year, but that's another story.
But I wanted to give a shout out to a channel that I have been watching and have thoroughly enjoyed some videos released recently. I told a bunch of you
Was
today.
it Spankers Weekly?
No, and it's not Cake Farts, your favorite channel.
Oh my!
I love them cake farts.
Popper Pimper, maybe Pimple Popper person.
No. Oh, jeez, you guys are out of control. So I've been watching the Rocky Mountain ATV
Oh, yeah, it's a great
MC channel.
Great channel.
So if you don't know, they sell ADV parts online, but they have these guys who they send out on challenges. And the one I've watched, it was an eight episode series this week. Was they could spend $1,000 on a used bike,
Okay.
and they had to ready it for a 1,000-mile adventure ride, mostly off road.
Were they allowed to spend money on fixing it up, or?
So things they have around the shop they
Oh,
can
okay.
use.
Nice.
So bash plates and side bags and stuff like that. They were able to outfit and hand guards, that kind of stuff. But they had to get a bike. So Emma, I'm just curious, if you were faced with this challenge, $1,000 bike,
Bloody hell.
what do you think you would pick up?
Oh God, I'm going to be
What
very...
kind of riding though?
Mostly, dirt,
Okay.
off-road, some single track. It was hardcore. They're very good riders.
I'm going to be very, very boring. Ninja 500. and put dirt tires on it.
Well, funnily enough, so some of the guys chose some older enduro bikes,
Right.
but one chose a Ninja 250. One had
That's a little underpowered.
One had a KZ 440.
That's
cruiser.
a bit more like it.
And the bike that did best of all of them,
right,
was a GS 650.
Yeah. See, it's these kind of mid-80s middleweights. They're big, roomy bikes.
Yep.
They're tough
Mm-hmm.
as old boots, and they're a bit porky because bikes were back then. But if you've got the wherewithal to lug them around, yeah, let's have a look at this thing. Oh yeah,
$900.
What
there
is
you
it?
go. Interceptor Vtr 250.
Yeah.
Small sport bike. God, that's ugly, isn't it? Oh my God, that thing has been beaten with the ugly stick. Guys, not far away though, and it's only $900.
So I have a friend of mine who has a thing called Torture Test Magazine.
So he was on this ride.
Yeah, I've ridden with him twice.
Yeah. So
He's an incredible rider. So I was with him. He rode a.
Mhm.
We were all of us were. I was on my KL. Everybody else was on KTM's and big bikes. He rode a DR 200
yeah.
and just like tore up. And then he went out. He's riding a XR 600 now, and he goes out and runs against people with modern bikes.
Yeah,
He's
they
amazing.
needed a replacement rider because one of the guys got injured
Yeah.
but had his bike prep. So
Yep.
they called him to come
He's
fill in.
a great guy, and he's a vet. He's in the military.
Oh, cool. So yeah, Rocky Mountain ADV MC, and the series is called $1,000 motorcycles versus 1,000 ADV miles. And I really enjoyed it.
That is not dissimilar to Dirtbag
Yeah.
in concept.
Yeah. But now I want to check out John his channel. There's so many things to discover.
Because motorbikes, that's why.
Is anyone else gone down or following anyone on YouTube? Any good video series that you want to give a plug?
I like the Fortnite stuff.
Yeah, that's always good.
Talking about series,
Yeah.
am I allowed to talk about the continuing saga of my restroom?
Oh,
We
yes.
gotta get back to
Please,
that.
actually, perfect
Oh,
timing. Let's
yeah.
finish up with that. So, what's going on with the Mototown visitor?
Right. So the continuing saga of the restroom. So to bring you up to speed without boring you, is when I inherited Mototown.
Before you go on, I just want to see, Mike, if I give you one guess, what unwanted visitor visited her bathroom at Mototown? You want to take a guess?
I mean, snakes come up toilets, and if it's knowing you, it's either a possum or a rat.
Okay. So
Or lamb vindaloo.
yeah, Lamb Windy Pooh. So I inherited a restroom of my very own with Mototown. Very excited about it, and I'm guessing somebody took a massive dump in 1988 and said, "Don't go in there for a while."
Oh,
And
'cause I think I
that
took a
while-
massive one like
yeah,
3 days
and
ago.
then, and then that was 20 years
Locked
ago,
it
and
through
that's
with
when I
key.
inherited it. So I went in there and jet washed everything, and it was great. And it's Spartan, but it's very nice. But it had a urinal in it, and I didn't want to smash the urinal up and take it out because it's quite disgusting. So I bought a wine rack and I stuck the wine rack over the urinal, and it works really well. So I have the only restroom with a wine rack in it, and I'm hoping people will leave me wine, but they don't. Anyway, so I go into work last Thursday, and I like coffee in the morning, and mid-morning comes along, and I'm gotta go. Emma's got to go pee, and so I always take my telephone in there and I check all my emails in there. So I'm sitting quite blissfully on the pot, looking at my phone, and I look down at my feet, and there's a fucking huge snake. And we're not
Nailed
talking.
it.
We're not talking about a small snake here. So this thing was, and I measured him. He's 3.5 feet long.
It's probably a gopher
Oh.
snake.
It was a California king snake,
Okay.
and he wasn't massive around because king snakes aren't like fast; they're kind of lean. Quite harmless, but he did have a murderous look in his eye. So
You just swam out of urinal, you'd be pretty murderous too.
Yeah. Exactly. So I was extremely unhappy about this. So I ran out of the restroom, assembling myself as I ran out of the restroom. I was basically screaming, waving my hands above my head. And there's the guy who has the unit next to me. He repairs cars, and he's like, "Oh, what's wrong, Emma?" I said, "You need to go in the restroom. There's Godzilla's in there." And he goes around, he's no better than me. He sticks his head around the door and he goes, "Oh, fucking hell." And he runs away. He just runs away. And he's like, "Call animal control," as he's disappearing down the street. And he didn't come back till the afternoon. So I must have put the willies up him. So I call animal control and there's no answer. So I leave a message. And it, you know, I mean, I will admit it was quite hysterical. There was blubbering.
Next time, just call me.
Yeah, no, I would. But I left. They were impressed enough that they called me back after 10 minutes because they were that concerned about my welfare. Anyway, I said, "Look, snake in the bathroom. What do you have to say about that?" And she said, "Well, would you describe it?" I said, "It's kind of long and thin." And she said,
long and snaky.
So we described the characteristics. She says, "Oh yeah, it's a California king snake, and he's quite harmless, and he's probably more scared of you than you are of him." And I said, "That is not possible."
Does this have the like red and black?
No, he's black and white.
Black and white. Okay.
Black. He's kind of brown and black and white.
Yeah.
But she said, "Look, he's looking for warmth. So just leave the door open." And he, as you said, Mike, he probably came up through the plumbing. He came up through the disused urinal out from my wine rack and slithered out. And he's just looking for warmth. So I left the door open, and it was one of those days that obviously the tiles in my bathroom floor are colder than outside. So he slithered off outside. And so I posted this on Instagram, and in one of my more inspired bits of prose. Hang on, let me get my phone.
Oh no.
I'm not going to play a video. So Liza, where is it? Oh, here we go. I want to make sure that I read it right. So I posted it on Instagram. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, it is Emma Booton 1962. And I put a picture of my snake.
1962, because that's the year you got your AARP card.
Exactly. And so R66 TAT said, "Nice!" exclamation point. "No mice now." And I replied at 66 TAT, "No contents of my bowel either," when I saw the brute, which was like very appropriate. I mean, quite scary when you're sitting down on the toilet and a snake comes out at you. It's not really what you expect.
The best place to be if you're going to shit yourself, though.
Well, you would have thought. The biggest disappointment I feel was the mechanic next door to me. I thought he was made of sterner
Call
stuff.
yourself a man.
Yeah, he was gone. And he just stuck his head around the corner. He goes, "Oh my God," and he was gone.
Well, you know what? I appreciate that he left, as opposed to many people who get out a shovel or a gun to kill him, and they are harmless. So I'm glad you guys didn't do that.
And actually, on a more serious note, I had a lovely talk with a girl from Animal Control, and she was obviously very, very young and very enthusiastic. And she said, "Thank you for not killing it, because, you know, he's harmless." And I said, "You know, California is beautiful, and you can insert the state you're in right now is beautiful. And we're just stewards here.
Yeah.
And we need to be stewards of the land that we live in, including being respectful of all the wildlife within. And I mean, we're really encroaching on them, particularly in the town that I live in Marina. It's an odd little town because it's kind of dense, but it's surrounded by countryside. So you get a lot of wild animals just roaming around at night.
Do we get mountain lions down here?
Yeah.
Oh, y'all ought to live in Boulder Creek. That's a whole other ballgame up there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean,
mountain lion
that,
central.
that is rural. So
Yeah.
you expect it. But if you're in downtown Marina, you're kind of, it's almost like a little, architecturally, it's almost like a little San Jose. It's strip malls, it's concrete. It's very urban on a small scale. And just to see a coyote or a mountain lion just wandering around.
I will tell you, because here in Santa Cruz, we get seagulls. An interesting fact, I don't know if you guys know this, but they're all named Steven.
Really?
Yeah. So if you see a seagull, you want to say hi, just know
Steve.
its name is Steven. I wanted to talk real quick as we're wrapping up our calendars. There's a lot of stuff happening.
Getting busy.
So I want to make sure everyone knows. In 2 weekends,
Yes.
Bikes and Boards,
Yes.
Clay Murphy's event that's going to be happening actually a couple different places here, but he's doing a biker event. It's mostly going to be at Image Cyclery
Yes.
here in town.
And I think I might drag the Trident out for that because it's kind of a little impromptu show.
When was the last time we had a bike show
Right.
in Santa Cruz proper?
Yeah.
And then coming July 9th, 10th, 11th is
Moto America.
Moto America at Laguna
Yeah.
Seca.
Bagger races.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Come see the
Yeah,
baggers.
aren't they trying to do like a hill climb?
Yeah.
I think Wayne's adding all sorts of
Yep.
cool stuff. Make sure you put that on your calendar, Mike, because the weekend after that, back to Laguna Seca, it's the ARMA races.
Right.
Oh,
The
classic motorcycle.
AHRMA, yeah.
Yep.
And I went last time, and that was fun because unlike Moto America, where it's you can only go in certain areas and
No, the
big
armor
business.
guys, you go anywhere.
ARMA guys, you can go anywhere, talk to anyone. You can walk through the garages. Everybody wants to talk. But you had vintage bikes, and that's where I met Dave Roper, Isle of Man winner.
Mm-hmm.
But also Yuri Berrigan was racing his Kramer. I mean, you're going to have a little bit of everything. So that's really exciting. And then the weekend after that is Vintage Days in
Yep, yep.
Ohio that some of us will be at.
Yes. You forgot
Yes.
the most important event of all.
Well, then
we're getting
the
there.
weekend after that
Right.
is Emma's grand opening.
August the 1st.
Yep. Actually, 2 weekends after that.
2 weekends after that. So mark your calendars.
Actually, no, it is the weekend after.
Right.
Vintage Days 24th through 25th. On August 1st.
August 1st. We're going to have an open day.
What time does the event start?
Well, probably about 12 o'clock. It's pretty loose. It's on a Sunday.
So I'm just going to throw this out now. Jim, hopefully you can help me remember. We should say maybe if we'll do a group ride down there and meet here at the garage around 10:30.
Right.
Or whenever Emma thinks we should all arrive.
No,
yeah,
and
totally
then,
down.
you know, whenever you want.
We'll arrive at 10:30, gather, and then
Yeah.
we'll go down
Yeah.
at 11 and
And
ride,
then-
ride maybe the slow, maybe we go
Oh,
take the back
Freedom or
ways? Sure.
yeah, or what's the slough? Elkhorn Slough.
Elkhorn
Right.
Slough.
Yeah.
And I'm going to fire up the barbecue. So there's going to be food. There's going to be, hamburgers, hot dogs, all that kind of stuff. No alcoholic beverages because drinking alcohol and riding motorbikes doesn't mix, as all grown-ups know. But there'll be plenty of nice things to drink and little tidbits. And we have live band playing. And it's going to be jolly good fun.
Well, and there's one other event on the calendar that I didn't even mention because this only involves one of the people here. But John is taking a little road trip.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I am going on Liza's KLR, her second KLR to Custer, South Dakota.
Custer, South Dakota.
Nice.
Yes,
Gonna go
Jim,
to-
you know that he's going to have a good time.
Yeah,
there.
I'm going a long
Oh
way
yeah,
too.
slapping on that KLR sounds
No,
like a hoot. Wish I could do it.
No, I'm going to go out 50, the loneliest road in America.
Oh,
There's
nice.
4 mountain ranges.
Mhm.
I told him he should go the way we came back and go up to Idaho
That's what I'm going to do.
and
Up to
go
Idaho Falls.
right up Evil Knievel's ramp and
Well, yeah, this time of year you got to follow the
Devil's
weather.
Tower.
You got to go where you're not going to melt.
all that
or
stuff.
or be rained on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so jealous that you're going to be there. It's going to be
If
an
anybody wants to
awesome
ride with
time.
me to Custer,
The only advice that Jim is going to give you is
mhm.
watch out for them cows.
Yeah. Watch out for the cows. Only advice I'll give you is spend as much time in the Black Hills and riding around Custer as you can.
Yeah.
It's magical.
Yeah.
It is a great place.
I've never done this long of a solo ride. So,
Neither has the KLR.
great. No, it'll be fine. I'm
Well,
looking forward to
Emma
it.
assures us she's prepared it.
No, I mean, that is another snip from Mototown. So you got to the end of the parking lot, so you covered warranty. And you know, if it makes it out of the parking lot without anything falls off, you're golden. No, it's a great little bike. It's a one-owner bike. It's had such an easy life. You probably do an oil chop before you leave, just because he's going to be doing so many damn miles on it. So you might as well do it on fresh oil.
Probably want to do it when we get there too.
Yeah.
And John, don't carry the spare gas for that loneliest road in plastic bags.
That's yeah, I've heard that.
So a lot coming up on the calendar. I think we're going to have a lot to talk about. Mike, I wanted to say thank you for showing up in person. It's great to see you in person.
I'd forgotten how handsome he was.
Me too.
It's time to wrap up. And I thought that we could, in honor of our friends at Cleveland Moto, that Mike, you could share a joke.
You want me to tell you the one I told you before?
Yes. Go ahead.
Which one?
Go
the
ahead.
Grandpa one?
Go ahead.
All right. I like
Oh,
the,
God, no,
okay,
wait
here
a
we go, here we
minute.
go.
Wait a
Okay,
minute
ready?
now.
All right, listen.
Hide
Here we
the
go.
kids.
If you're offended, you can turn.
You
it off
guys
right
already
now.
heard this one, but I'll say it anyway. Okay. This guy's riding up the road, right? And he sees lights behind him, and he notices he's getting pulled over by a cop. So he's like, all right, fuck it, pull over. Next thing you know, the cop walks up and says, sir, license and registration. And the cop looks in the window and he sees in the passenger seat a bunch of stuff, weird shit, you know, knives, rope, gas can, all types of shit. So, he goes to grab his gun. He says, sir, I'm going to need you to step out of the car. Guy puts his hands up and says, no, you don't understand. I'm a performer. And he's like, I need you to step out. So he steps out, grabs a couple knives and starts juggling them. So the cops, still has his gun on him, says, I don't, he's like, well, wait, hold on. Let me just show you one more trick. So he grabs a unicycle, starts riding the thing around his car, while he's juggling the knives. So now the cop's, actually interested, puts the gun away and stands back. And the guy's like, wait, I'll show you the grand finale. So he grabs a gas can, starts blowing fire, juggling knives, and riding the unicycle around the car. At the same time, two other guys driving up the freeway look over at the side and see, the cop standing there and this guy doing all these tricks around the car. And one guy looks at the other guy and says, damn, I'm so glad I stopped drinking. Look at the DWI checkpoints. No curses.
I think I like the grandpa.
I like that one.
You like the grandpa one
Grandpa's
better?
better.
I could give you the grandpa one.
No.
Come on, give it a grandpa.
No, let's save it. Let's save it.
All right.
Because we got a joke teller now too. You hear
We
that,
do.
Chris Smith? I think that wraps it up. Big thanks to Carmen Gentile for coming on here. What a cool guy, right?
Super
Yeah.
cool guy.
He's doing cool stuff and
Mhm.
Motorbike stuff. Definitely.
And I can't give away anything, but I did mention I've been staying in touch with him and working on him about a possible thing I can't talk about.
Wait.
but,
You're gonna.
I'll tell you guys in the room.
You're,
It's a little too.
you're gonna be
soon.
doing things with
I've-
Carmen's thingy.
I hope to be
That'll be a first.
doing a project with Carmen. Let's put it that way.
Does it involve an extraction?
Big thanks again to our sponsor, fixmyhog.com. Don't forget to go there and get your membership.
I like how you look at me when you say that.
$3. $3. No, seriously, Mike, you should check that out.
Yeah.
I will.
So
You give the review.
I also
next
want to
time.
give a quick shout out to whoever. So Jim and I were at Hollister a couple weeks ago, and I lost my license plate and I
Yeah.
lost my tool bag, and I figured they were gone. So I called back in, and somebody turned them in. So I want to
Yay.
shout
That's
out
cool.
to whoever turned those in, but also to the great rangers that are at Hollister. They were super friendly and helpful. And I rode down there
Unless
and
you have
picked
a
it up.
spark arrestor. You don't have a spark arrestor.
You know-
It's a different story.
I should imagine when you apply for a job to be a ranger at Hollister Hills, having just an unlimited amount of patience is probably one of the prerequisites.
Especially with quad riders.
Dude, they have no patience there. They
Yeah.
cracked down on. They were searching quad dudes last
They
time.
should,
Had to-
man. They're
shook them
hooligans.
down.
Freaking quad guys.
They suck.
And don't forget to go to motorcyclesandmisfits.com.
Who?
You find the links to everything there. Check out our videos. If you want to go old school and go back in time when Mike was making all the videos. Mike, you used to do a lot of fun stuff.
I
there.
still am. I just haven't done. I mean, I've got a new GoPro.
Ooh.
You know, we were reminiscing.
drone.
We were reminiscing, Mike, earlier about when the Misfits found me in the Jameson Museum, and who was there because Marie was there,
Yeah.
and you were there, weren't you? You were
Yeah.
there certainly for the
Mhm.
second time.
And
Did I
Zach?
film it?
You filmed the second time because that's when you were sitting on everything and Neil Jameson was going, "Who's this guy?"
I remember the popcorn,
Yeah.
the two-stroke, and you rolled it out in the rain, and we're like, "What the fuck?" And you're just like, "Oh yeah, no, we'll take it out." And just rolled the bike out.
Nasty little
it was
popcorn
like,
machine.
I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And Jim was there for the first time.
I know. I noticed your
Zach.
toes and your pearls.
Yes,
Me and
toes
Zach.
And Zach. All those years ago. How about that?
On that media channel, Liza, we need to have that one of your face when you were falling over on the AT.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. If you got it on film.
we
you
need
just
the
gotta
video
show
for
it.
sure too.
I
Because it was
know.
like,
Well, we can go in the other room. I can show you. And don't forget to send us your emails, recyclemotorcyclegarage@gmail.com.
We love them.
Yeah, I got a stack. I'm still trying to catch up on them, but keep bringing them in. And also, don't forget, we love visitors. So come and see us at the garage.
Yeah,
I think we have
come
some visitors coming soon.
Oh, great.
On that note, I think we're ready to get out of here. Thank you, everyone, especially our Patreon subscribers.
Who
We
the
love you the
Best
most.
of the best. Well, we love all our listeners.
We love them all.
But-
love them long time.
Yep,
Mhm.
we do love them long time for only $10. However, Patreon subscribers, you are the cream of the cream.
Ooh,
They're gonna pay for your knees.
I have a feeling that's what you left behind when you saw that snake.
That was the poop of the poop.
Okay, we're ready to get out of here. Thanks, everyone. This is Liza.
Scott.
Me,
Stumpy John.
Emma, darling.
Naked Jim, son.
Mike.
Mikey 3 times.
Bagel.
And we're out of here.
Cool.
Cool.
Cool.